Welcome to Damn Good Movie Memories with your host, Brian Davis. This podcast is the cure for your long commute and super boring workday. Hey there, it's Brian Davis, and for this week's episode, we're going to cover our favorite movies that take place in high school. Next week, we will cover our favorite movies that take place in college. As we discovered, there are way more high-quality high school movies than there are compared to college, and we're not really sure why, because college is ripe for having, movies take place there, but for some reason, maybe high school resonates better with people. I guess everyone technically has to go to high school by law, and you don't necessarily have to go to college, so maybe that's the reason. Anyway, we're going to cover our favorite high school movies now, and I had almost 40 choices, so I whittled it down to 10, and then later, at the end of the episode, I'll give you my honorable mentions. So let's start with my top 10 right now. All right, number 10 is the original Karate Kid from 1984. Now, we just did an episode covering the Karate Kid soundtrack with Stu, and it was an excellent episode. Go back and listen to that episode if you want to hear more about the underrated soundtrack, and, well, some of it's underrated, some of it's crap, but that was the fun part of that discussion. In any case, I was way into Rocky as a kid, and so for me, the next logical step was the Karate Kid. It was more my age, and the movie definitely follows the Rocky blueprint with the underdog story, but there's so many great bits and pieces about the Karate Kid movie, at least the original, that makes it unique. Pat Morita was the perfect Mr. Miyagi, and I always had a thing for Elizabeth Shue as Allie, of course with an I, and of course I followed her to her other movies like Adventures in Babysitting and Cocktail. But the other great part about this movie were the villains, from Martin Kove as the evil sensei to the Cobra Kai guys, especially Johnny, played by William Zabka, and he was the perennial bad guy in tons of 80s movies. And my dad always laughed that Ralph Macchio was cast as a teenager since he, seemed way older. And as it turns out, he was 22 at the time of the movie, but he still had that baby face. I loved the soundtrack to the movie, going at least as a kid. And I had it on a cassette. You can go back and listen to that episode to hear what we really feel. But, honestly, You're the Best Around is one of the best 80s songs, and it fit perfectly for this movie. And as we had mentioned before, it was originally written for Rocky III. However, they already had Eye of the Tiger, so to have two kind of, inspirational montage type songs, it wouldn't have worked. And frankly, this You're the Best works better in the Karate Kid setting. It's more of a kid-friendly song as opposed to, the slightly more serious Eye of the Tiger. But I also love just random quotes from this movie, like, "Hey, Johnny, take a ride, check it out." And you have to do that kind of the Los Angeles Valley voice. And, "Get him a body bag," and, stuff like that. And the guys, sweep the leg. "You got a problem with that?" Wax on, wax off. And, my dad did that a lot when I was growing up because, of course, I was washing the car all the time. So, and again, I never learned any karate out of it. But anyway, number 10 has got to be The Karate Kid. Number 9 is Lucas from 1986. And I first remember seeing Lucas as a kid at summer day camp. And I'm pretty sure it was the first time I saw Corey Haim or Charlie Sheen and Winona Ryder in a movie. And however, I'd seen Carrie Green before, as she was previously in The Goonies. Lucas is a fun kind of 80s dramedy about an awkward teenager named Lucas, and he's played by Corey Haim. And Lucas is a really smart and kind kid, but he's also very nerdy, and he's often picked on by the older teens. And he meets Maggie, and that's Carrie Green, in the summer. She's an older girl who recently moved into his town, and they kind of quickly become friends. However, once school begins, Maggie starts to become popular, and her friendship with Lucas, becomes strained. And though Lucas is often picked on, Cappy, who is played by Charlie Sheen, is a popular football player who often defends Lucas. But as Cappy starts to fall for Maggie, this upsets Lucas, and you can kind of see the love triangle there. But Lucas is also one of the first movies I remember that had the cliche-ridden slow clap applause scene, so you gotta love that. But you know what? It works in the context of the film, and it's the 80s. And so if you miss Lucas the first time around or were too young to remember it, I think this is a really good coming-of-age movie and a nice high school movie. Number 8 is Can't Buy Me Love from 1987, and this movie is memorable for me personally, as it was the first movie I saw without my parents at a movie theater. My friends and I were allowed in the summer of 1987 to go see this, and even though my 9-year-old self didn't really understand everything in this teen high school comedy, I was still entertained enough to like the movie. Can't Buy Me Love, not the famous Beatles song, Stars Patrick Dempsey and Amanda Peterson, and it's about a nerdy, shy kid that's played by Dempsey who is completely infatuated and in love with the most popular girl at the school, and that's Amanda Peterson. And so he gets this bright idea to use his money that he saved all summer from mowing lawns, which is $1,000, and he bails out Amanda Peterson after she ruins her mom's dress at a party. Somebody spilled wine on it. So in exchange for the money, she must act like she's dating Patrick Dempsey and essentially, make him popular with the in crowd, because it's really that simple. All you have to do is date the popular kid and you're in. At least it is in that way in movies. And it's your typical 80s fluff, but still a lot of fun. I love movies like this. And unfortunately, on a sad note, Amanda Peterson died in 2015 of a drug overdose. But this movie, if you haven't seen it, yeah, it's not going to win any Academy Awards, but neither are most of these high school movies. So enjoy it for what it is. All right, number 7 is another movie from 1987, and that is Summer School. And so long before he was known as Jethro Gibbs from NCIS, I knew Mark Harmon as Mr. Shoop from Summer School because he was the coolest teacher ever. I absolutely loved this movie as a kid because of all the crazy characters in the class. You had Dave and Francis, who was Francis was better known as Chainsaw because they were way into horror movies, especially Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's a great scene where they want to freak out the new substitute teacher, and they basically come up with like a horror type movie inside of the class, and it's pretty hilarious. You even get to see a young Courtney Thorne-Smith who had a major crush on Mr. Shoop in this. And then to round out the characters, you had a male stripper, a pregnant teen, a prototypical jock, and of course, a geek. It was a typical fun 80s movie, and even Kirstie Alley is in the film as Mark Harmon's love interest. So if you've missed this one, you got to check it out. Summer School from 1987. All right, number 6 is Just One of the Guys from 1985, and I just realized all of my picks are from the 80s, so now you know where my head's at. But that's okay, because when I was growing up, most of my movies I was watching were in the 80s. So there you go. Sue me. Anyway, Just One of the Guys is one of the really fun 80s comedies starring Joyce Heiser. And this is definitely the movie that Heiser is best known for, as she never really hit it big after starring in this movie. You also get, as I mentioned before, perennial 80s villain William Zabka, who was Johnny in The Karate Kid. He also plays the jock that everyone hates. If you don't know the plot, Terry, note the ambiguous name, is an upstart teen journalist, but feels due to her good looks, she isn't being taken seriously by newspaper editors. So she decides to disguise herself as a male to see if her articles will then be accepted. Of course, she never takes into account the crazy scenarios and repercussions of acting like a teen male. Everything from getting into fights to fighting off female advances. It's the 80s, man. Anything goes. Number 5 is the original Footloose from 1984. And, we actually did the soundtrack for this one, so go back to listen to that if you want. Because really, the movie, I enjoy the movie, don't get me wrong, but it's a soundtrack that really made this movie a hit. So Lindley and my other brother Brian did an episode just on the soundtrack, so go back and listen to that. It's a really good episode. I didn't see Footloose in the theater, so my first exposure to the film was actually the soundtrack that my mom purchased on cassette, and I remember many a drive in the family Dodge Caravan listening to this soundtrack over and over. And, by the way, side note, our Dodge Caravan from 1985 was a stick shift. Yes, that's how I learned to drive a stick shift. How awesome. Anyway, my favorite song was Never by Moving Pictures. That's when Kevin Bacon is doing gymnastics in a empty warehouse. A very interesting scene. Anyway, eventually I saw this movie on video, and even at a young age was kind of incredulous about the plot of the film. I was like, what? They can't dance in this town? This is ridiculous. And eventually I would just suspend belief and enjoy the movie for what it was. And to amuse myself and my parents and whoever happened to be around when the movie was on, I would do the Kevin Bacon dance that occurred at the final dance scene during the song Footloose. I'm not even sure I can really explain it. It's basically like line dancing, but done as goofy as possible when the lyrics, everybody cut, everybody cut, everybody cut, Footloose begins. And you can just imagine. But, my dancing was as ridiculous as the movie, and, do not see the remake. The remake is pathetic. Don't try to remake 80s movies. It hasn't been long enough. Anyway, and don't get me started on the Karate Kid remake. In any case, Footloose, number 5, favorite high school movie. All right, number 4 is Heathers from 1989, and much like the movie version of MASH, Heathers is the epitome of a dark comedy, and I always found Heathers to be sort of an anomaly for movies that came out in the 80s, because it really seemed like it would have been better suited for the 90s. In any case, this is just me kind of overthinking. The movie is awesome, and it's a teen classic, but I really think kind of like the the mopey, grungy, early 90s I think this movie would have really taken off. I mean, it's kind of had its cult following now, but it really wasn't a major box office success as it should have been. The cast is fabulous with Winona Ryder, Christian Slater, and Shannon Doherty. It's really interesting to look back now, but everyone thought that Christian Slater was going to be the next Jack Nicholson. He kind of looked like Jack and definitely sounded like him. And while his career did pretty well in the late 80s and early 90s, I think most were disappointed that he didn't come bigger, but I digress. Back to the movie, Heathers didn't do great at the box office, like I said, at the time of its release. But again, it's just a cult classic. And, I don't think teen movie fans at that point in the 80s, because you can tell by my past picks, they're all kind of lighthearted. This is not lighthearted at all. It's a revenge-type story with comedy about getting back at the popular kids, the Heathers. So if you miss Heathers the first time around and have a soft spot for dark comedies, this film is definitely for you. You will not be disappointed. The acting is terrific. Number 3 is Pretty in Pink from 1986. And if I recall correctly, I think this was the first Brat Pack movie that I saw. I'm pretty sure my mom rented this at first and then let me watch it. And the funny part is, even at a young age, I didn't really want Molly Ringwald to end up with Ducky, played by John Cryer. Ducky was likable, but even when I was a kid, I thought he was a bit much. And so even though Blaine was kind of vanilla, the ending didn't bother me. And especially considering Ducky ended up with Christy Swanson at the end. Are you kidding? I'm taking Christy Swanson over Molly Ringwald any day. And I'm sorry if you love Molly Ringwald, but yeah. Folks that didn't like the ending to Pretty in Pink probably appreciated the ending to Some Kind of Wonderful much better. And actually, Ducky should have ended up with Annie Potts, because if you saw the record scene, that's a terrific scene with Otis Redding. Some kind of try a little tenderness. It's easy for me to say. Anyway, Some Kind of Wonderful actually should have been on my list, but that's going to be honorable mention. And also, I can't leave out much like William Zabka, James Spader was a terrific villain in the 80s, and he just plays this incredible douchebag. He's just this... nobody could have played it better than Spader. And really, with a name like Steph, in the film, it's a requirement to be an asshole, and nobody could have played this role better than Spader. All right, number 2 is The Breakfast Club from 1985, and for many, this is probably the number 1 high school movie. And it's one of the most iconic movies to come out of the 80s, and unlike actually all the other movies I picked were pretty much based in the high school setting. This movie absolutely was nonstop in the high school setting, because it takes place in one day in detention during Saturday school. And, I think the reason it still resonates with people today is there are certain things about being a teenager that is just simply timeless, and the Breakfast Club features all of these timeless qualities. As Anthony Michael Hall's character Brian so perfectly puts it in the paper that he delivered to the assistant principal, every school has a brain, an athlete, a basket case, a princess, and a criminal, and all of those characters fit that role. And The Breakfast Club is yet another amazing John Hughes film, and if you've listened to my past episodes, you'll notice that I own a majority of his films because they're pretty much brilliant. The 80s just wouldn't have been the same without John Hughes. All the stars in this film are 80s icons: Molly Ringwald, Judd Nelson, Anthony Michael Hall, Emilio Estevez, and Ali Sheedy. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Paul Gleason, because he's brilliant as the assistant principal Vernon, and I still just laugh out loud when the ruckus scene when Judd Nelson falls through the roof, and I heard a ruckus. Can you describe the ruckus, sir? It's a perfect scene. All right, number 1 on my list for my favorite movies that take place in high school is from 1982, and it's Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It had to be number 1. It's got high school, or at least high, in the title. It's got to be there. So the interesting thing that always, stuck with me about Fast Times at Ridgemont High were actually the darker moments of the movie, because you really only think of comedy here. And my friends would always talk about, Spicoli, played by Sean Penn, and of course Phoebe Cates. But when I finally saw the movie on video years after the initial release, because I was only 4 at the time when the movie came out, I was surprised by the drama. I was expecting nonstop comedy, and there's a lot of comedy in it. But for example, there's an abortion scene with Jennifer Jason Leigh, which was something I was definitely not expecting or even mature enough to even handle. So years after the first viewing, I watched the movie again when I was actually in high school, and I thought the movie was brilliant and made a lot more sense than when I was viewing it at, like 10 years old. And anytime I hear the Cars song moving in stereo, I can't help but think of the famous Phoebe Cates' pool scene, because I once read a hilarious article that was, it was common knowledge between video store owners in the 80s that most of the VH rental tapes of Fast Times at Ridgemont High had fuzzy scenes right at the exact moment of the Phoebe Cates' pool scene due to the renters, mostly teenage boys, rewinding the scene over and over again and wearing out that one scene because, of course, she takes off her top. These kids would have killed to have the internet back in those days. Anyway, that is my top 10 list. I will come back at the end of the episode after we interview our, cast of regulars with my extras, and I have a lot of extras because how do you limit it to just 10? Well, I did, but it was difficult. So I'll be back later. Okay, we're back with my other brother, Brian. How's it going?
All right, how are you?
Good. We're going back to high school.
Yeah, let's all go.
So for this week, we're going to do our favorite movies that take place in high school. And as we discovered, because we're also going to do a college episode, there's a lot more, for us at least, high school movies than there are college movies.
Yeah, I think just there are a lot more high school movies made all the time. And that includes 21 Jump Street, which is really it's kind of a high school movie.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
Also, just the joke is that there's adults going to high school.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, a lot of these
that's
movies,
not on my list, but I do like that movie.
But this is a good point, and I don't even know if you were going to bring this up. A lot of the actors that are playing high school students are well out of, they're some of them in their 20s.
Yeah, we could go through the list and talk about that. But
sure.
A lot of them are just old.
Totally. And you could have picked, if we wanted to do college, 22 Jump Street, because they do go to
there
college in that one. So that'd be,
and I guess what's the classic? That's the Drew Barrymore one, Never Been Kissed or something.
Yeah, that was it, which kind of follows that.
Yeah, and she's intentionally old, but it's that one's kind of comically. That was just ridiculous. It's there's no way she looks like a high school student.
No matter how they did her up and everything. Yeah. But that's actually a cute movie. I
do like it. It's just one of those things you had to get over the fact that it's
and
everyone in the world would know that she's not.
Oh, totally. But I love now anyone named Josie. I always think Josie Grossi. So I can't help but.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it. Let's get into your list.
So this is not in any particular order.
Okay.
And there are a lot to choose from. I went through a bunch of lists and I could have gone through and said, oh yeah, this, I saw a top 25 list and I probably like 20 of those movies on there.
Oh, nice.
So.
That's a good list.
Actually, I can tell you. The list is filmsite.org.
Okay.
They have lots of good lists of movies on there.
And it's through AMC?
I guess they own it now, yeah.
Okay.
There used to be some independent guy, because I think if you go on this, you can find some. He used to write really long essays about certain films that he likes.
Oh, okay.
Really long, detailed kind of critical stuff.
I like that stuff.
Yeah, it's really good. If you really want to geek out on the movies that he likes to geek out on, it's good. But I don't think he does that anymore, and he probably sold the content to AMC. So anyway,
and plus, if it was past movies, he really doesn't need to. Once you do it, it's in there.
Yeah, the movie's not going to change.
That's right.
Other than maybe a historical viewing context would change. But this is their list of 50 best high school movies, and part 2 as their top 25. So that
okay.
I'm just saying it as a reference because it's if you haven't seen a lot of high school movies, this is probably the place to start.
Exactly. First try this podcast, then go to them. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Of course, the podcast, because it's more fun to hear what real people that you know.
That's right.
Sort of know.
That's right. We're part of the family now.
Yeah. So anyway, my list has Ferris Bueller's Day Off as one.
Yeah.
That's probably maybe it's my favorite. It's almost maybe it's 2 tied for first, or I don't know. Anyway, it's just classically funny 80s teen movie.
Yeah. And there's another one where how old do you think Matthew Broderick was at the time?
Yeah, I was pretty young when I saw it, so he seemed like a high school student.
He had a boyish face.
Yeah, he had a boyish face, but I figured he was in his 20s, early 20s.
If anything, Jennifer Grey probably looked older than he did.
Yeah, I always thought she was, and then she's younger than Matthew Broderick, which
that's interesting.
Funny. I think she is.
Did they date?
I don't know.
I could have sworn. Because this is, I believe, pre-Dirty Dancing. A year prior.
Yeah, she wasn't known yet until she got famous from Dirty Dancing more.
And honestly, she in many ways, though Ferris is the main character, she kind of steals the show.
Oh, the ending with her, or even, parts throughout, but especially towards the end where they end up at the police station.
Oh yeah, and Charlie Sheen,
which
is a great scene.
Charlie Sheen was just playing a younger version of his current self.
Exactly. Drugs. Yeah. Well, that was actually one of my favorite cameos because he's good. I guess actually is. So this has one of the best comic villains of all time. Oh, Rooney.
Rooney.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I love Grace, Eva McClurg as his secretary. Just like the parking lot attendant.
Oh, God,
yeah. I'm a professional. Yeah. You can trust me.
We need to do that again.
Like the least stressful guy ever. It's like,
Oh,
Cameron is
Cameron,
great.
yeah.
He's so awesome.
He is so good. Every time I don't know if I want to go somewhere, I just like I'll go. Yeah, that's what
call me until I come work. And Mia Sarah, I always wonder what happened to her because she never seemed to star in anything after this movie. Maybe one Time Cop?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that was what I was going to say.
Thought of it right now. As soon as they said like she's never been in anything else.
She just kind of fell off the face.
That's so weird. I thought she was good.
I thought she was really good. She was great as Ferris's girlfriend. So, yeah.
So and I did. Speaking of Ferris trivia, I saw something about the parade scene. How they filmed it, and they just stuck their own like float in a parade that was going on. So it was like a little bit of guerrilla filmmaking in that one because they didn't even know, like the parade people didn't even know that
interesting
what was going on, and I guess the governor was even at that parade, the governor of Illinois. So
that's pretty awesome.
They just marched right by and got away.
Wow.
I mean, parts of it, like the part where they're marching. I
guess,
where they're
probably
dancing.
not the dancing.
Yeah, because that was a whole montage scene with Twist and Shout, right? So yeah, the dancing part that was originally choreographed, and then they decided not to do any choreographing because they just thought it would be more fun to have the kids be like ridiculous.
Sure. And actually, other good trivia: Ferris's mom and dad in that actually ended up dating and getting married after the after the movie. Yeah, I think they ended up divorcing, but they got together. So. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, but that's a classic. That's maybe my favorite John Hughes movie.
Yeah, I think it's up. Yeah, and I almost put Breakfast Club on my list, and it's definitely like probably my top 10.
It's one where it's one of the few movies that is in high school the whole
time. Yeah. So there were some that I didn't consider on my list because I didn't feel like they were enough about like Hoosiers, which I would see on a lot of top high school movie lists, and it's definitely a high school movie. It's set at a high school and about a high school team, but to me, it's more about the adults in the movie, especially Gene Hackman's character.
Oh, absolutely.
So like I kind of like
Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper. So I kind of dismissed that from my thinking.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Next I have Rushmore.
Oh yeah,
and this might be my favorite.
I think that's Lindley's favorite too.
Yeah, this is my favorite Wes Anderson movie. And it's a lot like his movies now are like even more stylized than Rushmore was. And Rushmore was pretty stylized for the time. It definitely has the hallmarks of Wes Anderson, but this is kind of like relaunched Bill Murray's career,
definitely,
as like the independent dramedy actor. Independent film dramedy actor that he has become.
It relaunched his career and probably launched Jason Schwartzman's
first movie, actually. Yeah. So yeah, definitely his career. Owen Wilson co-wrote it, but he wasn't in it. Luke Wilson was in it briefly. And
right.
I don't know. I love the soundtrack to this movie because it's kind of this mix of British invasion, and then you have Mark Mothersbaugh, kind of like keyboard score, like harpsichord-ish keyboard.
Yeah. And maybe we should do that soundtrack.
We could do that.
That could be a good one.
Ferris Bueller too.
Yeah, that's true. That would be a really good one.
You do a bunch of high school movies. All right.
That would be good.
Filing this for future reference. I don't know. In some ways, like I sort of identify with Max, just Max, the main character.
Yeah.
Just as a not that I'm anything like him, but I just sort of like him, just like awkward high school kid and kind of wanting to not fit in on purpose.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, I don't know. It's just like it's just different. Like it's so much different than a lot of high school movies.
Yeah. Because they do definitely follow a pattern. But a lot of movies kind of follow the same trope.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. That was one unique thing, at least about early Wes Anderson, is no movie where you knew you were getting a unique movie from him.
He's not. I wouldn't say like that. Max Fisher is a lot of the kids it was at a private high school part of it, and then some of it's at public high school. But the private part is like I don't know how a prep school is. I think it's sort of based on Wes Anderson's own time at a prep high school like that. So I think he drew from that. But I think for the most part, like I don't relate to that part. It's just more like the awkwardness of being like a teenager and wanting to get beyond the limits of a high school. Like what you learn in class or what you do, because like Max basically never goes to class. And gets in all kinds of trouble for like being involved in extracurricular activities until he finally like starts breaking ground on an aquarium. They kick him out of school.
That's true.
So And then he gets into a friendship with an adult, which like I didn't do that kind of stuff either. But like it's just kind of a different look at a high school movie.
Yeah, definitely a good pick.
Thanks. Next, I have Superbad.
Yeah.
One of my favorite comedies. Period. And it's just one of these movies. I think for all these movies, they're just ones that I can rewatch like any old time. If it's on TV, I'll just totally get glued to it. And I mean, Superbad's super funny. I mean, it's raunchy.
It totally is. But it might be, and I could be wrong, but this might be the last great comedy that's come out in the last 10 years.
The last one I remember going to where I just was really laughing, and it was unexpected because I saw the previews and like, okay, I had time to kill and I went to go see a movie.
Yeah.
And I was totally surprised at how much I liked it.
I know.
I was there. And I think it came out the same year as Knocked Up.
Okay, yep.
Or around maybe within a year of that movie. And I think Knocked Up got a lot more attention.
Yeah. Because it's basically a sequel to 40-Year-Old Virgin, kind of offshoot.
Yeah, but I think it got a lot more attention, and Superbad to me was like way funny.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah.
So
more concise.
Yeah, and just hilarious.
Oh, it is.
McLovin and the cops were messing with him the whole time, and Michael Cera, who was kind of played a different version. He often plays himself, different versions of his
like in Juno
stock
and
characters. Juno and in Arrested Development. Kind of
except for This Is the End. Then
I didn't see that, but I heard he's totally
he's totally different. Yeah.
But Scott Pilgrim's another. Oh, Scott Pilgrim would have been.
That's another good one.
I don't think he's high school in that one, is he? I don't remember. I think he's post high school.
I'd have to go back. I watched it once, but But Superbad. I mean, Jonah Hill's great. You get, I think, the debut of what's her name? I'm forgetting her name.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. I think it might be her first movie.
Yeah, first big one. Anyway. Yeah. I think she's really good. The guy who plays McLovin.
And Seth Rogen plays the crazy cop. And
Bill Hader's his partner. And then there's a whole bunch of guys that show up in a bunch of the Apatow films.
Yes.
That are, they show up in this too. Like the only thing it's missing is James Franco.
Yeah, exactly. Which is,
I think his brother is in it.
Is David? He may be.
Briefly, I don't know. Maybe not.
One of the other movies that is similar to this is a movie called Sex Drive, and so it's this kid trying to he meets someone online, and then they drive all the way across country to go meet her, and they get into all these sorts of things, but it's very Superbad-esque, and that's one to maybe check out. It's not as good as Superbad, but it's still worth your time.
Yeah, I don't know, this is a good one.
Yeah, definitely Superbad.
Dazed and Confused.
Absolutely.
Talk about a good soundtrack.
Oh yeah, all the classic rock from the 70s.
Yeah. And
McConaughey is exactly
all right.
So my mom had never seen the movie, and I sat down and watched with her a couple weeks ago, and she's like, "That's how he always is." All right. Yeah, he's just this even creepy.
When he won the Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club, he's somewhat like himself in that. And I was just
he never changes.
Yeah,
even when he's doing the fancy car commercials.
Oh yeah,
he's like the same kind of dude.
Now he's doing. I think I heard his voice on a Carl's Jr. commercial.
I think you're right.
Isn't that him?
That is him.
Talking about El Diablo.
Yeah, exactly. It's like these famous actors are taking voiceover work.
Yeah, I guess it's easy money, right?
Totally.
Yeah, for those guys, it's they're taking away real voice actors' jobs.
Exactly, and I guess in animated films are doing the same thing too.
Yeah.
But
anyway, Dazed and Confused. It has a whole bunch of people went on to other things.
Ben Affleck is a great asshole on that. Yes, he is. Bannon, I think his name. Yeah.
Bannon. Yeah. It's just like his whole motivation in that movie is to like just spank people with a cricket bat.
Exactly. But he gets his in the end.
But that was kind of true. There were dudes like that in high school.
Absolutely.
They're just like that complete asshole bully that just wanted to torment. They picked someone and they would torment that person.
Yeah.
Torment that person.
And what's interesting is after they kind of get back at him, you don't see him for the rest of the movie. Like he kind of has his little 10 minutes and that's it.
There's lots in that movie with like rivalries or there's Adam Goldberg's character ends up fighting that other guy.
Yeah.
Gets his ass kicked.
What's really and then what's his name? I forgot. He was in Adventures in Babysitting. He played Daryl. He was also in Rent. I can't remember his name. A redheaded guy. He was a friend of Adam Goldberg.
Yeah.
He's in it, and he's good. There's a lot of the woman who played Chasing Amy.
Joey Lauren Adams.
Yep,
Parker Posey's in it.
Parker Posey plays a great,
she's really good.
Likable character.
Yeah, she could have been in Mean Girls. That same character is similar to what... It feels like it was similar to the Rachel McAdams character in Mean Girls.
Yeah, good call.
But like different generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, Mean Girls is a good one.
That's I didn't put that on. But that's another honorable mention. I can go through a bunch of honorable mentions
sure.
Anyway, the last one I had is American Graffiti.
Yeah.
Which is, Dazed and Confused and American Graffiti are kind of similar because they just follow kids around
during the summer.
Yeah. Dazed and Confused was over a period of weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
Or a few days. American Graffiti just takes place all in one night.
Correct. Before he goes off to college.
Yeah, like the last day of summer vacation before Richard Dreyfuss is leaving for college, and his other friends are, maybe going or not going.
This is why I hated the sequel, because
I never saw it.
Don't see it.
I just heard it was really bad.
Terrible. One of the worst sequels ever. Because at the end of American Graffiti, they tell you what happened. So why have a sequel?
They shouldn't have done that.
But the original, you want the ultimate 50s, 60s soundtrack?
It's a double album.
So it's so
if
good.
you like any of that, the 50s or late 50s, early 60s,
rock and roll,
rock, kind of some doo-wop,
some doo-wop on there. Yep.
If you like that kind of music, then that soundtrack's a great one.
It's perfect. I had it growing up.
Album,
it's great. Actually, that'd be a good one to do as well. But it would take a while. Well,
it would take to have to do it in two parts, I think.
Well, you know what? The songs were so short back then. They're only like 2 minutes. True. You could probably get away with it. But
talking about them would take a long time.
You're right.
So I don't know. That's my list. I do have... I think I mentioned a couple other ones. I wanted to...
Yeah, let's do honorable mention.
On a few more, just because I feel like... Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Absolutely.
Breakfast Club I mentioned. That one maybe just barely missed the cut. Election was another one.
That's a good one. Yeah, I need to rewatch that.
Just
Reese Witherspoon's
so good in that one. And you could, it's. What Matthew Broderick does is terrible, but it's like you feel so like he's totally justified in trying to stop her. But
but he shouldn't have done it. Yeah.
No. Carrie too.
That's a good point. Yeah.
The Carrie and Donnie Darko. I was thinking two kind of horror teen movies.
Yeah.
Definitely about high school. And Donnie Darko is more like sci-fi than horror, but it's a little
true.
It's and kind of deep, dark. And
the one you have to rewatch over and over again.
To figure it out.
Well, along the same lines as Carrie, if we want to go horror, you could go Scream.
Oh, that's true.
Because those are good high school. At least the first one.
Yeah, the first one is a high school movie.
Yeah, that's a good one. And that's great.
It. Yeah, there's my list.
All right. Thanks as always, Brian.
Check out the soundtracks in all these movies.
Definitely. Too. We might have to do American Graffiti and Rushmore. I think that would be a good one to get.
Sure.
That sounds good. Thanks, Brian.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, we're back with Samantha. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So for this week, we're going to do our favorite high school movies. And we discovered there's way more high school films we like as opposed to college. So we're going to start with high school. In the sequence of me publishing this. So even though we recorded them differently, but who cares? Nobody needs to know all this stuff. So you do have a few more high school movies, and you gave me kind of a lead in that I may not like this choice. So let's find out what it is.
Well, not necessarily that you'll like it or not, but I picked one that's not real high school.
Okay.
There are just so many to narrow this down to. I feel like when I grew up, there were so many high school movies.
Sure.
Like, I was born in the early 90s.
So when you were watching, you had your Mean Girls and your stuff. Yeah, exactly.
So when I was a kid, it was just, I think there was a period of 15 years or so where there was just constantly, they were always making high school and college movies. Geared toward my demographic.
Sure.
They weren't always good, but they were just constantly.
Yeah.
All the time. So, before I was even in high school, there were classics to watch, and then there were ones that came out while I was in high school that are classics now, in a way. So, and I think when you watch the movies when you're younger, they stick with you a lot more.
Because you watch them over and over, too.
Yeah. Because since I graduated from high school, have I watched any high school-based movies that I care about? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, there were a few. But the first one I'm going to discuss, which just came to mind because I was stuck at home for a few days. I'm getting over some jet lag. I'm getting over a cold.
Okay.
And I was stuck at home, and what was marathoning all weekend but the Harry Potter series.
Oh.
And then I had to think, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the high school experience I really wanted.
You want to be a wizard.
You know, I wanted to be a witch. Only I could have gone to Hogwarts.
So you didn't pick The Craft? You could have picked The Craft. Did you ever see that one?
I did. It's a good one.
Yeah.
I think I talked about it in my classic episode.
You might have, yeah.
But that movie was mostly about like their little like witch coven experience. But Harry Potter is, I will argue, a series about the high school experience. Okay. But just from a fictional...
Well, but that's okay. I think that's fair. I'll let you have this. I get this. So what is your theory behind... Because do they actually start in high school, or are they starting in before that?
So they start when they're technically 11. So it's more like middle through high school.
Okay.
But, you know, that exists in the United States.
Fair enough.
You can start in 8th. I think some schools even do 6th grade through 12th. But yeah, they start in... When they're 10 and 11, they get their letter, and then they are done when I think they're around 17, 18.
Okay.
So it's about the same, maybe a little older. I don't know, actually. But it's about, I think, 8 years. Crazy fans would know that. I'm not a crazy Harry Potter fan. I grew up with it. Sure. And then I was in this like...
So you obviously read the books first.
Oh, yeah. I read them as soon as they came out. Watched the movies when they, like, midnight premieres. All that. But, like, the logistics, I can't remember those things. But it's like...
And most of it takes place in high school. Like, they're actually in school.
Yeah, so they go to school. The movies start always, like, a few weeks before the year starts. And then they get there and... You know, they get their books, they go to their new classes, they meet their teachers and all of that, and it's all of the typical stereotypes of the high school experience, but they're doing wizard things, like instead of football, they play Quidditch. They have those tournaments, it's a huge deal. They have, you know, all of the relationships, and they have exams and everything. But it's in... this other stuff.
I'll let you have it. This is what we like. You think outside the box. This is good.
And like I think they're just. It's an enjoyable series. I am of course biased because I watched all of them.
Oh sure.
In a period of 3 days this weekend, and but I also grew up with them, and when I was younger. It kind of aligned with my age in a bit. Like when the books were being published, I was around the same age. And then the movies, it took longer. So, but I was still around in that demographic and kind of grew with them at the same time. And they are, all the characters are good. You have your, you know, the smart ones, and you have the bullies, and
just like regular school.
That. It's like all of the tropes that are in the typical high school movies they touch upon in the Harry Potter series.
But it's just fantasy.
It's fantasy, and they do much cooler things. Like I would much rather be in a potions class than like math class.
There you go. I agree with that.
But
so you could actually make an argument that maybe chemistry and physics it could be technically your potions class because you're coming up with things.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, the dark arts. I don't think that has a
an equivalent,
parallel. But and Harry Potter, of course, they were battling all of the evil forces, and that's not in your typical high school movie.
Not usually. Not till you get to at least your job. Yeah. You're battling those folks.
So I know I had to talk about Harry Potter.
Fair enough. I'll let you have it. So no problem.
And it was so good. I forgot how good they were, the movies at least, until I watched them again. And the last kind of like 5 and 6 are just really, really good when they're kind of later teenagers and the more traditional high school age. They're very good movies.
Yeah.
So
and they grew up well.
They aged well. Not so much the first one. But those kids were not very good actors at first, but
they grew into the
roles. Yeah. They learned with as they.
That's actually kind of charming in a way because you get to see them really grow, just like kids grow, because you're going to be socially awkward and weird when you're a kid anyway.
And they turned into great actors by the kind of like the third, fourth movie, and then by the time they were teenagers, it's like really impressive.
They got it down. Okay, so what are your other two?
Okay, so my real high school movies. Okay, this was my first pick.
Okay.
So Harry Potter, that's an aside, special case. But my number one favorite, like legit high school movie is 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, great movie. Yeah.
I've talked about it on here before. I think it was maybe my guilty pleasure, one of the first ones we talked about.
Yeah. And this is based on what Shakespeare novel?
Taming of the Shrew, I believe.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I've ever read.
Actually read it, yeah.
I did not pay attention in my required Shakespeare class in college.
Yeah, that's something I definitely... Cliff Notes were my friend for Shakespeare.
But the... so I can't say how accurate it is according to the play, but the movie, I think I watched it again when I was like 13 or so for the first time. And it's aged well.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's still a
if it's on, I'll watch it.
I always used to get it confused with Can't Hardly Wait, even though they are different. But I don't know if they came out around the same time. Maybe. But 10 Things I Hate About You is get Heath Ledger.
Early role.
Yeah.
And.
Well,
blanking out.
Yes, 3 names.
Julia Stiles
and the boy.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Exactly.
So 3 like excellent actors in one of their early roles.
Yeah.
And the whole cast is really great. Like the girl's dad is really funny.
Yeah, he's a comedian. He's a famous comedian. So this came out in 1999. Larry Miller is the dad.
Oh.
So he's a comedian. Allison Janney's in it.
Yeah. I didn't know his name, but he's such like a recognizable face.
Yeah, he's a character actor. David Krumholtz, who's like one of the friends. He's kind of got the dark hair. Oh, and then Andrew Keegan. I don't remember seeing him in anything else. He's the one that I think he's the popular kid. He's gonna.
Oh, the one who's the underwear model or the sock model.
Exactly.
What does he do again?
Yeah.
He was like making a really big deal because he got his modeling job.
This is the movie he's most known for, I guess. But he was in other things.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, this is a fun movie. Like
it's fun. The whole setting is cool. I like how it was in Seattle.
I believe it was. Yeah.
Or like Washington. I thought the setting was.
It was very sunny. So.
Fun. Yeah. And their high school looked pretty normal.
Yeah.
Again, it was a pretty high school. They always pick nice looking schools for the movies, but. It had the whole like clique thing, and because Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's new.
Yes.
So you see the school from his perspective, but.
And the girl he likes, I don't remember seeing her in anything else. It's not Julia Stiles, because Julia Stiles ends up going with
because he's trying to date the little sister, and then gets involved in everyone else's life.
She can't date the younger sister who wants to date. Can't date unless the older sister dates, who doesn't want to date anyone.
But so she hates everybody.
Exactly.
So
Bianca is the one that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's trying to date. Her name is Larissa Olenek. Oh, yeah. So maybe I don't know. Yes, she was in The Secret World of Alex Mack. That sounds like a Disney.
Yeah, the TV show.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there you go. That's a good pick. If you're into teen movies or high school movies, this is a good one.
Yeah, it's fun. You got the Heath Ledger's like bad boy character, but it's a little more than that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a huge crush on him.
So it
was like,
and this is obviously pre-Joker, pre-Knight's Tale, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just him at his best.
And then a couple years later, Julia Stiles would be in the Bourne series.
Yeah, so and I love that movie. Funny scene where he's like dancing on the field, trying to woo her.
Yes.
But of course, she thinks he's doing it for money, and then it just all explodes
you gotta have
in the prom.
You need the conflict.
But it all works out at the end.
It does. Not to give anything away, but
yeah.
That's this type of movie.
Yeah, so one of my faves. One of my faves. And then I have to mention Mean Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Follow-up that came out when I was in high school. So it was something we watched all the time.
Yeah.
Like my friends and I would watch it.
And arguably, even though Lindsay Lohan was in some good Disney remakes, this is probably her best movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for
Tina
sure.
Fey, yeah.
Yeah. You could argue Parent Trap.
But that's a remake. Same thing with Freaky Friday. I'm gonna go with the real one.
Only original film.
Yeah, except for some straight to DVD ones where she's pregnant or something like that. Like she's a teen mom, I think.
Oh, I don't even.
Yeah, so I saw it straight to DVD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, Tina Fey is
the teacher.
And
she's kind of a bumbling teacher.
Yeah, bumbling, and she was only kind of, I would consider her like a minor character in the movie, but she wrote it, so.
Exactly, so she got to be in it. But she does have some key scenes in it, so, but that factor in. Yeah. So definitely check out Mean Girls, check out Easy A.
Mean Girls, so quotable, and, it's just so funny. It's one of those I'll always watch, like if it's on TV or something. I'll turn it on.
Yeah,
it's still really funny.
The Mean Girls themselves are great. So, God, I can't think of her name now.
McAdams. Rachel McAdams.
Yes, she's perfect as the head Mean Girl.
Oh, perfect. I always liked Amanda Seyfried. The ditzy one.
Mm-hmm.
Thought she was kind of she's underappreciated. I thought she was very subtly.
She's underrated.
Funny.
Underrated. Yes. No, she definitely is. Did you ever watch Veronica Mars?
No, I never got into that show.
See, I think you would like it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this was around the same time as Mean Girls, but Amanda Seyfried plays the friend.
Okay.
So it was probably around the same time. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So what were the other ones that you had?
So other than, let's see, 10 Things I Hate About You and Mean Girls, two favorite, and then I just had to mention Breakfast Club. Yeah. Honorable mention.
Sure.
I can't say it's one of my favorite movies of all time, but I thought it's a quintessential high school movie. I'm sure you've discussed it already.
So Brian didn't pick it either because Brian picked Ferris Bueller. Mm-hmm. But my point is, it's really one of the few high school movies where it's literally in high school, the entire movie.
High school. Yeah. For me, though, I don't know why, but it gets boring.
When I first saw it, I didn't get it. But I was younger. I was probably in middle school, and everyone's telling me this is the greatest, teen movie ever. But as an adult, I like it more because I think I think the way that they kind of bond, how those cliques still exist. You know, the jock, the burnout, the princess, and then the nerd, and then the basket case too. They kind of all make sense. And,
So you think more now watching it from
I appreciate it a lot more.
Like that perspective and looking at the relationships.
Yeah.
More
because when I was a kid, I was more interested in Weird Science and Ferris Bueller and those type of John Hughes movies. And as an adult, I appreciate Breakfast Club more. Yeah.
Okay.
And I always thought they should. A sequel would have been interesting. What happened the next day?
Yeah. So. Like actually outside of the one room.
Exactly.
They're in that room for most of the time.
And it's one day. That's
it's just that morning. Mm-hmm. And of course, they get up to nonsense with like the vice principal.
Oh yeah,
is it the vice principal?
It's a vice principal, and that's the character I appreciate more as an adult. Because when you're a kid, you're thinking, oh, he's a jerk, you know, and everything. But then you kind of realize, you kind of empathize with him more. Mm-hmm. Like he's just kind of a failed,
and he's stuck there on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. And the janitor is the one that kind of tells him about that. It's like it's not really the kids, it's you, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in a couple of years. Maybe from like a dialogue angle and just pay attention. And
it's the first time, this is fun trivia, I'd ever seen sushi because Molly Ringwald's character is eating sushi. Yeah. And sushi wasn't as popular as it was as it is now. It was kind of a very prissy thing, like it was an elitist thing. And,
and I think it makes sense. Like that wasn't the case for me, really. Like, sushi was always around. Yeah. But you can tell from watching the movie, like, well, she's the, popular girl.
Yeah, more cultured.
Yeah. So her having her sushi lunch, it looks like fancy.
Exactly.
So.
Especially compared to Emilio Estevez, who was just like one sandwich and chips and sodas after another.
Just all his bag of stuff.
Exactly. And then, of course, Oshidi putting pixie sticks with some sort of chips into a sandwich, which is a classic scene.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's a cute movie. I like it, but I never got the the obsession with it. So
I think it's just Brat Pack, right place, right time, and they were really hyping, those actors at the time.
Yeah.
So I think it's just time and place.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And it does ring true with the different characters. Like, those all exist. They still exist.
Totally.
When I was in high school, 20 years after that movie,
absolutely.
Still had all those people.
And every single one of those actors really went on, or were already pretty famous at the time. So, yeah. Thank you, Samantha.
You're welcome.
Okay, you loved her on the first podcast that she was on, which was the debut episode for our movie trivia, 80s and 90s. She will forever be known as Rachel Hard Pass, because I forgot what the question. Do you remember what the actual question was?
It was the name of someone's movie that they won some award for.
Yeah.
And it was oddly an appropriate answer.
Yeah.
Even though it was just me not knowing the answer.
Right. But that's okay. So go back and listen to that episode if you want more context. Right now, you're probably just like, what is going on here? But that's okay. That's what we do here. We don't know what's going on. But I'm glad to have you on, because usually I try to have you on all the time, but then you're just like, yeah, I don't know that movie, or I haven't seen that movie, or whatever. But for this particular genre of episode, I think you're going to be fine.
It's a little more crowd friendly.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sometimes we'll play this game where Brian will just list movies, and I'll say whether or not I've seen them, and it's mostly just no. The answer is usually no, and many a shock and awe ensues.
I know, but wait till we get to the 100th episode, and that'll be very fun, because that was.
I actually have something to say.
That's right, but you're gonna have something to say for this one. So we're gonna start with high school movies, and your favorite movie that took place in high school. You weren't actually in high school to enjoy that. We've had some confusion about what movies to pick for those. But
I see.
Yes. So let's just get right into it. How many do you have?
So I have like one main one.
Okay.
And then an adjacent one that's not really high school, but it's just a movie I love to talk about.
So you're going to do what Malin does, and I like this. So you're already going to be one of our favorite guests.
Oh,
okay.
Boy.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. So what is the main favorite?
So it's a pretty obvious pick for someone of my demographic, but I am going to go with Mean Girls.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it is a timeless classic. And one of those movies that I, like any movie ever, I actually saw later than everyone else. It came out in 2004.
I was going to look it up. Now I don't have to.
See, I did my homework. It came out in 2004, but I don't think I saw it until maybe 2007.
Okay, no, that's not too far.
Yeah. Well, for a movie that when you're, I was in middle school at the time. When you're in middle school and there's some movie out that you haven't seen, it's like
you're the outcast.
You're the outcast because the only thing to do when you're in middle school is have your parents drive you and your friends to the movies.
That's right.
So I or hang out at a park somewhere.
Just a random park at night. Just we'll see you in the morning. Yeah.
And so one of my best friends in middle school came over, and her cousin was with her too, and she brought the DVD because she could not believe that I hadn't seen this movie.
Of course.
And we just sat on my couch and ate an inappropriate amount of candy and watched Mean Girls.
I think that's the way to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the end of it, I was a little ill, feeling a little ill from all the candy.
But not from the movie.
But not from the movie. The movie was life-changing. and I think it's a testament to how good or important of a movie that was. The fact that people still quote it, and that October 3rd is Mean Girls Day.
That's cool.
And it's still like a relevant movie in the zeitgeist.
So had you seen a Lindsay Lohan movie like the Disney remakes before Mean Girls?
Yeah, I had seen most of Parent Trap, I think.
Okay.
That was a movie that I only ever watched when it was on TV, and I always missed the first half hour of it. And
where they discover each other?
Yeah, so I had completely not seen any of that movie where they're at camp until maybe about 2 years ago.
And that's the fun part.
Yeah. But I had seen the rest of it.
Okay.
A bunch. And then Life Size, the Disney Channel original movie with her and Tyra Banks.
That I have not seen.
Yeah, she gets a doll that's basically like a Barbie, and it's Tyra Banks, and then it comes to life.
Got it.
Yeah.
But you never saw Freaky Friday with her.
I did see.
Okay.
That was actually one of them. I think you had an episode about movies that you'd seen in theaters a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
For whatever reason, I have seen that movie in theaters more than twice.
Really?
Yes.
That's okay. That's it. No, have you seen the originals of either Parent Trap or Freaky Friday?
I've seen parts of the original of Freaky Friday, but I've not seen the original Parent Trap.
Okay. Yeah. It's in the early 60s, so it is a little different, but it's still fun.
Yeah, it's one of the many movies that people kind of look at me and say, you have to watch those.
Yeah.
That gets added to this like infinite
Well,
list.
Look, you sit next to me at work, so you got
is already tripled in
exactly.
size.
Yeah, forget it.
That's fine.
But going back to Mean Girls, so obviously Lindsay Lohan's great in it. Tina Fey wrote it, but she kind of has a bit role, but it's a funny bit role. She's kind of this disorganized school teacher.
At the time I didn't really know who she was because I was a bit young for Saturday Night Live, and we never watched Saturday Night Live, and my parents weren't really into it either. They were, for whatever reason, more into Mad TV, which...
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Were they ever into...
Not in my lifetime.
Interesting.
Maybe before, but it wasn't really a big thing. So the Saturday Night Live names were not household names.
Right, got it.
So I didn't know who Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, I didn't know who any of these people were.
Tim Meadows.
Yeah. Who I love because of
great.
Mean Girls.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I thought and it was funny too hearing or seeing Lacey Chabert in the movie too.
Yes.
She plays Gretchen Wieners because I recognized her voice from being Eliza Thornberry.
The
Wild Thornberry. So it was kind of funny to hear this voice that I recognized from childhood as being like this kind of dorky girl who can talk to animals, and all of a sudden she's Gretchen Wieners, heir of the Toaster Strudel.
Right.
Company. So, and I go back and watch it, and I'm still like, this holds up.
It does hold up. I watched it not too long ago, and Rachel McAdams is great as the main Mean Girl, though she's nowhere near in high. She's got to be in her
I'm pretty sure
early
she
20s.
Was, yeah, she was. They were mostly a lot. I think Lindsay Lohan was the only one that was close to being a teenager.
Exactly.
When they filmed that, and Lindsay Lohan actually auditioned to be Rachel McAdams, the character. Regina George.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that was really embarrassing.
I was okay. So I was thinking Amanda Seyfried.
Lindsay Lohan originally auditioned to be like the mean girl.
Oh, okay.
But then these decisions were made because she was still a relatively unknown child actor, I suppose, or teen actor, and they didn't want her reputation to be like
interesting how that turned out. Yeah,
right. And but in the meantime, before all that happened.
And actually, another SNL alum is Anna Gasteyer, who plays.
Is that the mom?
Yeah, it's her mom.
Yeah. And also, I really liked Scrubs as a kid.
Yes.
And what's his name? Neil Flynn. Was the dad also. So
yeah,
that's right. It's janitor.
Yeah. Okay, so have you seen Easy A?
Yes.
Okay, so to me, that's like maybe the closest. Like, it's not a sequel, and it's definitely not a remake, but it's probably the best offshoot of Mean Girls.
It's sort of like high school drama.
Yeah,
satirized but with a point.
Yeah,
because it's one of the things I really liked about Mean Girls too, is that it had like kind of a message, or it kind of had some heart at the end.
Yeah,
which is why it was so frustrating when I showed the movie to my parents. I think I was in high school at this point, or to my dad. Really, my mom wasn't around, but my mom like refused to watch it. She was like, I can't watch people being catty to each other, and she has a thing about dumb blondes. I don't know.
So she can't watch Legally Blonde?
She like
that has a message.
Yeah. She just like can't deal with that.
Got
right?
it.
And we keep telling her like, no, this is a really good movie. It like sort of subverts all of that.
Yeah.
It satirizes all of it, and you come out of it realizing that like, oh no, this is a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
and we should all move past it, but
right.
She just doesn't want to have to sit through it.
Now, she's seen the movie 9 to 5.
Probably.
Okay. Because that's, to me, an amazing movie. It took place in 1980. You have Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, and Dolly Parton. So Dolly Parton plays your stereotypical blonde ditz, like Airhead. But actually, she's got it more together than the other two.
Yeah.
You just don't realize it until... So if you go by... You can't go in with these preconceived notions of certain people because you end up loving them once you actually get into the
and we keep telling her like, it's Tina Fey, you love Tina Fey, and she's just like, oh, I can't do it. They're just they're so mean. I'm like, well, that's the point. Well, it's like watching a Disney movie, and you know there's always going to be conflict in a Disney movie, even though it's awful. But you need the movie can't be good without having the highs and the lows, or like dead parents,
like Bambi.
Disney.
Yes. Disney was definitely a lot edgier way back in the 40s.
Well, even now, like Frozen, in the first,
which I've never seen.
Oh,
I have
good
tried.
For you.
Yeah, thank you.
The parents die very early in that movie.
Well, now I don't have to watch it.
Yeah. Well, it's harder, I think, to find a Disney movie where the parents or one parent doesn't die or disappear or leave or isn't around.
Is that why they're letting it go? No, I'm not even joking. But you're looking at me like, I gotta get it.
Well, because I didn't know what you meant, so then I was like, "Are you making a joke?"
No,
letting what go.
That's in the main song in Frozen, Let It Go?
Yeah.
Okay, so are they just letting it go of their parents that died?
No.
Okay, so see what happens when you don't actually watch. I probably edit all this out. So,
yeah. No, that's something entirely different.
Well, I like my version.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing is that like the dead parents in Disney movies never actually seem to have that much of an impact. It's mostly just to get rid of them. Sometimes there's an impact, like Mufasa
and Lion King. Yeah,
very very big impact. But like
I would say Bambi's kind of like he just someone needed to die, and unfortunately it was Bambi's mom. So, but she's not that big of a part of the movie.
What if that was the tagline? For
Somebody needs to die. Bambi, 1942. Yes, that's Anyway, let's go into your second movie, which is, I guess, a cheat.
But it is a cheat. Yeah. So I was debating as whether or not this would be a valid movie to talk about for this category. Okay. And my rationale is that it takes place primarily in a school. The students in the movie are not in high school, but the school itself looks like it does have high school students in it, even though we never see them. And I might be totally wrong about that, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But the movie is School of Rock.
No, I give that to you. Okay. Yes. Since we're not doing elementary school.
Well, that's a weird topic.
And we could do Kindergarten Cop. That's
Daddy Daycare? That's
Daddy Daycare. That's true. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you School of Rock. Because School of Rock's an awesome film. And you just saw the musical not too long ago.
I did last week, 2 weeks ago, sometime in the less than a month ago. I saw the musical, which was a lot of fun.
How does it compare to the movie?
It's different in the sense that it's a musical.
Well, of course.
Right. Well, I mean, like, sometimes that's hard to... People don't necessarily get that, especially when they adapt musicals from other media formats, as they think they're just going to go see the same thing in a different format. But it's the story is more or less the same, but certain details are different, and of course, there's more songs. And a little bit of details about, like, the kids are different.
Do they keep the hard rock, classic rock angle to the musical? Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. So the band that Dewey Finn's character was in is still called No Vacancy. Their song is a little bit more like jokey. It sounds like something out of Get 'Em to the Greek.
Ah, okay. Yes.
Where it's whereas the No Vacancy songs in the movie are actually like pretty decent songs.
They're like little pop songs.
Yeah, they're cheesy, but they're not like obviously a joke. So that was different. And they still have, like, the scene in the bar with Stevie Nicks where he gets the principal.
Just 17,
which is the classic moment. The other movie that I saw most frequently in theaters that wasn't Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis Free Friday was School of Rock.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I think I saw it 2 or 3 times in the theaters. And then I've seen it ad nauseum, like on DVD.
Oh, sure.
It's just, especially when I was, in high school or middle school and home during the summer with nothing to do.
It's nice to have on.
Yeah, I would watch a lot of DVDs, and School of Rock was one of the ones that was on heavy rotation.
Well, it's easy. You can have it around on the background. Really, the plot's there, but it's not super important. And it's just fun seeing Jack Black.
Yeah, Jack Black. Around. Yeah, and my brother really liked it too, and one of his friends that was over at our house a lot liked it also, and so we would just sit around and watch it, but then also just say it to each other at the same time. And I would watch the commentary because the kids did the commentary.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
And so I watched that a bunch of times, and so now I know all this weird trivia.
So give me give me the best trivia from the kids.
Well, the one that I remember most prominently was that Miranda Cosgrove, who plays Summer, is very adamant that she actually can sing. Because in the movie,
she's
sings,
awful. Yeah.
She sings Moonlight or something, and really terribly. But then in the commentary, she's insisting, like, they had to teach me how to sing badly. And so the kids have her sing during the movie on the commentary, and she then went on to release some pop albums recently and stuff. So it's like, okay,
but her character fit because she ended up being the business manager because she was the smartest, or at least she was the brainiest in the classroom.
The factotum.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And so, kind of the key part of this movie is Joan Cusack, because she's like the greatest support actor there
Fantastic.
is.
Yeah. If anything, that was the one. There are a lot of, like, in the musical, there were a lot of things that didn't translate super well, and I think her character was a lot more interesting in the movie than in the musical.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And what about Sarah Silverman's character?
Or
is she even in the musical?
She is in the musical. Okay. She was a lot more, I don't know how to describe it. I liked her character better in the movie also.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I liked everybody's characters better in the movie, but
she's just very direct and can't stand him.
And I think in the musical she was a bit one-dimensional. She was a bit just supposed to be kind of like this nagging presence.
Right.
Whereas in the movie, she is still a big nagging presence, but there's a little bit more there too.
Well, yeah, she's looking out for his brother. Yeah.
And that was kind of lost in the movie. It just sort of seemed like she was just bossing him around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But she was fun.
Or in the musical. Yeah.
In the musical, yes. Yeah. Well, anyway, great job. I'm going to give those to you. Definitely check out Mean Girls and School of Rock if you haven't seen those. Those are great.
Even 2000s. I've seen them.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Yeah. So we'll wait till we get to college. So thank you, Rachel.
Yeah.
Well, you know from the laugh, she is back.
I'm not gonna laugh. I can't. I cannot not laugh.
That's a double negative.
Okay, but
it. Can't not laugh means you can laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all know I can, right?
Yeah. So she needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce her anyway. It's Danielle. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So we're going back to high school.
Okay.
And we're going to discuss your favorite movies that take place in high school.
Cool.
So when you were in high school, did you enjoy high school type movies, or were you different? You were just watching The Exorcist and things like that.
I didn't care.
Yeah,
just
you watch whatever you like.
Whatever's in TV.
Got it. So Gone with the Wind, and that was it.
Yes.
And horror movies.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
Why? When you were in high school, you had to. What is that? In college, you just watch college movies?
No, of course not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see? Yeah. Oh,
okay.
getting a little.
That was weird.
We're getting a little sassy here. Okay, so let's get right back into it. You are back to normal. Whatever normal is.
Thank you. What happened to me before?
I don't know. Well, you were doing top 5 lists because you always used to do top 6 list.
Yeah, no, I'm doing top 6.
Today you are.
Yes, I am.
We're back to normal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay. Good. All right, number 6.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so my number 6. So it's hard to have I like this one more than that one. Okay?
Oh yeah.
But okay, let's see.
Humor me.
Number 6. It is Pretty in Pink.
That's in my top 10.
Oh God, of course it is.
Oh, and that makes you upset? Shouldn't you be happy we have the same taste?
Don't copy me.
Oh, that's why. Okay, what about Pretty in Pink? And did you see it how old were you when you saw it?
I don't remember. Long ago. First time I saw it, I was in high school, probably. I don't remember exactly. I don't know which year is the movie.
The movie came out in 86, so you obviously saw it a few years after it initially.
Yes, I didn't watch in the movie theater.
Okay.
I watched in TV, so it was way after that.
So probably the late 80s, early 90s?
Early 90s.
Okay,
for sure, because 86 I was 6 years old.
So you probably wasn't watching it.
A few years, no.
But actually, that's when because my mom loved those movies. So
really?
She rented it and taped it. So I was probably 8 years old when I first saw it. Yeah.
Oh, no, I was older than that when I watched. I was watching, The Exorcist before the Fly and those movies came.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching before.
Go back to previous episodes. You want to hear Danielle's horror movie viewing. But yeah, so what about? I mean, did you like Ducky? And
it's cute. It's a cute movie. It's a for Brazil at least. It happens. I don't know here, but we had the. How do you say English?
Well, the wrong side of the tracks girl. Like she was poorer. Yeah, the rich kids.
Yeah. So that's a cliche.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
But it's cute, and I love the 2.5 Men guy.
John Cryer, who plays Ducky.
He's
so,
cute.
Did you want her to end up with Ducky?
No, I want her to end up with the cute guy. Yes.
Yeah. See, it's funny because you would think a lot of people would want them to end up. Because,
no, it's a friendship.
It totally is.
And I was always friends with guys my whole life. I always had. I had guys closer than girls. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. So I like that they did not, burn that friendship. Yeah. And it's very pure friendship. He loves her. He's in love with her. But then he realizes it's a friendship, and he doesn't get hurt at the end. He meets someone.
Well, he made some very pretty Christy Swanson too.
I don't know the name of the actresses, but he's happy at the end. Yeah. So no one's actually hurt. So it's a cute.
Well, what the original ending was, they actually get together and they tested it and everyone hated it.
Yeah, because
she's supposed to be with
it doesn't make sense.
No.
Why she's poor, she cannot end with the rich guy. There's always this thing, and I like it doing.
And I really like her dad. Her dad kind of plays that role correctly. He's not very likable, but he plays that. The actor plays that role.
The movie is nice, and I like the crazy friend. It's my favorite.
Oh, Annie Potts.
Yeah,
I like the record
her. She is my favorite from the movie. She's my favorite.
I actually thought Ducky should end up with her, even though she's older.
Oh, she's older. She has no patience for that.
I know.
For him,
but that would be because that scene is great.
Yeah.
When he's singing to her.
Yeah, but he needed someone new. It would look like a rebound if they.
I get
together.
That. Yeah.
Oh, I cannot get this one. I'll get the friend.
Yeah.
No, he met. It was new, so for him it was good. So
and the girl liked
it.
Yeah.
So my daughter is gonna watch it for.
It's the first time
with her friends. I'm inviting about 10 girls.
Mm-hmm. That'll be good.
And so 7th graders, and I already told all the parents because we have a small movie theater where I live. So the fun part is the moms want to watch. Oh, Miss Thank
That's their era.
So let's do a separate session for the moms. And
well, that's the thing, because actually the girls should watch it separately from the moms, because the moms are going to already know what happens. They're going to be laughing, and so it takes away from the innocence of watching it for the first time.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So yes, this is my number 6. I really like it.
Totally agree with it. Number 5.
Oh, my pen is just exploding.
That's my pen.
So it's yours, sorry.
There it goes.
It's Ferry Bueller Days Off, something like that.
I've never quite heard it being called that before, but that's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But I like Ferris Bueller's Day. Yeah.
I can't say the name.
But yes, that's number 5.
So,
and that was on my. Actually, I don't even know if it was on my list. There you go.
So I like the movie. I watched, and it's the same time, right?
It's the exact same year.
Yeah.
And,
really?
And the same writer and director.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So okay. See, I'm so dumb.
Well,
movies.
John Hughes wrote and directed Ferris. He wrote Pretty in Pink. He didn't direct it, but same writer. Yeah.
Fun movie.
Oh, it's great.
My daughter is watching this one. Mm-hmm. In a different day, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, you
with
can.
Her friends.
Yeah.
And I like it. It's not that I love. It's funny. It's very predictable. So
really, you find it predictable?
I do.
Well, because when I first saw it, it's totally, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't necessarily know if he's going to make it or not.
He's singing in the middle of the place.
Oh,
and
it's
then
ridiculous.
The dad of the guy or the girl, I don't know which dad it is, in the office.
And he's dancing along. Yeah.
But, it's just so okay, that's a little too much. And then comes the principal and, there's the whole dog situation.
Oh, yeah.
It was a little bit pushing, but I like it. And I like the girl from Dirty Dance. I don't know.
Yeah, Jennifer Grey.
I like her in that movie too. I don't like the girlfriend. I think she's very
I think she fits the role, but yeah, I mean
I like the sister.
The sister steals the show.
And I like the friend.
Cameron.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's a very good that's the best in the movie for me. Is he's always scared.
He's neurotic.
You can see his face. He convinces us oh, I'm gonna get screwed. The car.
Well, one of the best scenes is him deciding where he wants to go. He's like, I'll go. And shit. And then that's how I feel. When there's times I don't want to go. Fine, I'll go. Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah,
I like it. So yes, I watched the movie. It was together with Pretty in Pink,
they came out around the same
time. But I also watching TV, so I probably was already 14, 15.
Oh, funny story. I thought that Ferris was actually singing "Twist and Shout," which is the Beatles.
Who thought?
I did.
You did?
I was probably 8 years old at the time, and then my dad was like, "Yeah, that's a little band called the Beatles."
A little band,
just a little small band. Okay, number 4.
Is Back to the Future.
Oh, you and I didn't pick it, but I'm glad you're picking 80s, because this is why I have you on.
I love Back to the Future. Yeah. It's odd, the mom with the son. That gives me the creeps when I watch it. Watching as a teen, I was like, no. It's just, no.
See, but for some reason it didn't bother me. Maybe I was too young to even get it.
No, but I got it. Yeah. But when I watched, that's what I'm saying.
You're
in
older.
Brazil, it came on the movie theater, I didn't go for that, and then came, like you had to rent the video, but I watched it in TV. Like you have like times of the day that they screen movies, and I watched. So it was like I was older when I watched all those movies.
So for all these movies that are on TV, is it all dubbed into Portuguese or is it subtitles?
Some.
Okay.
Some, and when you're younger, you don't want to read the subtitles.
No, you want to
watch them. So it's funny. Like now, it's like ridiculous. I cannot even. I cannot do it anymore. But yes, I watch it in Portuguese, like the dialogues in Portuguese.
Right.
And Back to the Future, I like it. To a point. I really like Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, he plays Doc.
Yeah, it's like I love Michael J. Fox.
Yep. Marty.
Fox, yeah. When they're together, all those scenes. Yeah. When it goes to the family, the high school, all that thing going on, I don't like it.
Why? Why don't you?
I don't know. I think it's like it gets like too blah for me, and even like it gets very regular movie.
Well, that's
true.
It
gets very like the boy likes the girl, that I was someone who is me. It's very high school. It goes back like.
Well, part of this is you're very scientific, so you're in, and that's true. You're a physicist. So, if you didn't know already, Danielle's a physicist. So it makes sense you would like the science part of Doc, because Doc is very scientific. So you like the scenes where he goes to his house back in 1955, where he's testing and everything. And so where if you're not as much into science, and I love those scenes too, but the whole bullying thing and everything, you gotta that's just part of growing up.
Yeah, but like you have that in all these movies. You have Pretty in Pink, you have in Karate Kid, you have all that going on, which Karate Kid is my
Somebody just gave it away.
But so that is like, okay, here we go again, the same plot.
But it's still different because it's a little bit of that, but it's mostly the science stuff. So they had to throw in a little bit.
Yes.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But I love the movie. I'm not,
and you definitely like the first one better than the other two?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the last one I didn't even watch.
The Western?
Yes, I just I gave up. Okay. The first ones, yes. And I went to a museum in Colombia. Colombia here, the gold stuff.
Oh yes.
So there's this museum there,
in Northern California.
Yes, and there's actually the train from Back to the Future, like the real train. I was like, oh really? Like the city, there's nothing, just this train museum, and there's many trains. And the guy said, "Oh, this is the train from Back to the Future." I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Did you get pictures and everything?
Oh, yes. Of course I did.
Number 2?
No,
number
3.
Sorry.
Number 3 is Dead Poets Society.
And this is high school.
This is boarding school.
High school.
Yes, but it counts as high school. Come on.
So what about, I haven't seen this in years, so this seems like your type of movie.
It is controversial in a way, but...
why is that?
Because we know that poetry is not like the English teachers. That's not life. That's not how it is. Like you killing a lot of teachers, like making them mad because I cannot be like this guy because it's unrealistic. But for a movie, you have so many repressed boys and a repressed school. And comes this teacher with all these ideas, and he say carpe diem is like the word that
seize the day.
Yes, and and give them a different perspective.
Sure.
And the movie is very about that, and it's a beautiful movie, and I love it. Robin Williams.
Sure.
I love his movie.
He's a very diverse actor. I mean, you think of him as comedy, but he can do
serious. He can. And he has those eyes, that look in his eyes that it's amazing. Yeah. Every movie that he did, he has the same look in his eyes. And it's a very sad look, but it goes with the play.
The role.
With the role. So I love the movie, I think most for Robin Williams being on it. But yes, I was very young when I watched it, and I cried my eyes out. I remember crying.
When's the last time you've seen it?
Oh, years
You should watch it again and see if it holds up.
I was in Brazil, I don't know, maybe in high school or college maybe the last time, yes.
You should watch it again.
Oh, yeah, to cry again.
No one I'll interview you immediately after.
Not my favorite anymore.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2. Oh my God! So the thing is, I skipped a few. So
we'll do honorable mention.
Yes, please.
Okay, there you go.
Number 2 is Carrie.
Is Carrie? It's not. It's Scary and Carrie.
No, not scary. It's just Carrie.
Carrie, okay.
Which is scary.
If you're Carrie, it is. Did you read the book at any point?
No, I didn't read the book. Okay. I watched talking about the original.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Remake, I don't even mention that. Yeah.
So that's cool. People, I have a friend who is in her 20s. I just said, I watched that movie. That's not you. Yes, because now you have all these special effects and everything. At that time, it was scary.
Yeah.
Not when I watched. When I watched, it wasn't scary.
Well, you'd already seen The Exorcist and things like that.
No, but I do appreciate the movie and the time that the movie was made.
So it was 1976, I think?
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of The Exorcist. If you see now, I watch it again.
Exorcist still holds up. Exorcist still scary.
I look and, the whole scenes, I was like, okay, that's so shame. But it's beautiful. I'm not saying it's beautiful.
No. But the way they filmed it.
The way is made.
Acting.
Like Mary Poppins, people, this is so not well made. It is well made. It was made when, special effects wasn't.
But we're going off a tangent here. But Mary Poppins, I just watched it not too long ago. Nobody could have played Mary Poppins like Julie Andrews because she could sing and dance.
But there's
and
a
do
new
everything.
one now.
It doesn't matter. It's not going to be as good because you can't. I mean, the special effects might be better, but the acting won't be better. And nobody can beat Dick Van Dyke. So you put them together. Who cares about the special effects?
I know.
It's about the acting. So.
But
and same thing with this.
Carrie, I like it. I like everything that Again, she's bullied. It's the whole high school thing all over.
John Travolta.
The thing is, it changed. High school is not like that anymore. At least on my time and what I hear is easier. It's middle school, the thing now. Yeah. So, you got all these movies and you play some middle school and you have nowadays kids. So I like Carrie and I like what happened. And I was waiting for that moment. Come on, you need to do something for those idiots. And everything happened.
So I have the Funko Pop dolls that everyone loves now. So I have one for Carrie, and she's just covered in the pig's blood.
Oh boy!
And one of the people at work brought their kids, and they're like, she has blood on her. Oh. And I'm like, no, it's just paint. It's just paint.
Yeah. It's not, it's fine. It's not human.
Yeah, no.
It's a pig. It's for pig. She ate too much meat.
I can't top that. See, that's why we have Danielle. All right, number 1.
It's not number 1. I counted all wrong. It's a mess, this list here. It's not my favorite, but it's in the list. I know, right? I have...
Okay, so number...
I have attention defect.
Okay, so Danielle has no number 1. So
forget about the numbers.
Okay, forget it.
Let's continue the movie.
Yeah, so these people that started at I'm going to get this amazing top 6 list.
So this may be like number 7. Okay, let's go.
So we went from 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 7.
7.
Oh, great.
Okay, so it's Risky Business.
Oh, I love that movie.
I love that movie. Yeah. I love Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah, who plays the older...
Beautiful.
And she's not that much older.
No, and she's stunning. I love her. They were dating at that time, right?
They were.
Tom Cruise, I never thought he was cute. But okay,
you didn't like him dancing around in his underwear to old-time rock and roll?
No, that part, I was paying attention so much later, and it doesn't grab my attention. I don't care about him. If it was Johnny Depp. Okay.
Well, yeah, we know that Danielle drop everything for Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
And my mom would, too. So,
but Tom Cruise, yeah.
Not so much.
But it's a fun movie.
It's a great movie.
It is fun to see. It's kind of inappropriate, and some scenes are very...
No, but that's it. That was the 80s.
Come on. Yeah, who cares?
But the friend...
This one, I'm not letting my daughter watch.
No, not yet. They have sex on the subway and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's a crazy movie.
But, it's rated R too. But his friend, Curtis Armstrong, is great in that. Mm-hmm. He's really good. And then the guy who is... Guido, the pimp. That was what Curtis Armstrong called him. Yes. But he was in Sopranos. He was in Goonies. Joey Pantoliano. He's great in that.
So what happened to her? I don't watch movies.
She's in a few other movies, but this is probably her most famous movie.
Yeah. I really like the chemistry between them. Mm-hmm. The plot of the movie.
Oh yeah.
fun. It's very like 80s and very like it could happen, not like that, but the whole party thing.
Actually, probably some of this did happen. Maybe not this as crazy, but I bet you some college kids.
It was insane. The party that he puts on. What is that? Well, he replaced the eggs.
Yeah. That's all that mattered at the end of the day. He just had to replace the Fabergé egg.
Oh, God. No, but still, they had a little risk at the end, right?
And then the mom was disappointed in him, having no idea what he was doing. But then the other great part is, I forgot his name. He's in License to Drive. He plays the dad. The admissions guy. Remember he's interviewing with him to go into Harvard?
No, with
a mustache?
So. I think so.
He's a great actor, and I can't remember his name, but... yeah, I think it's Richard somebody. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so let's go to your next one.
So my next one would be Karate Kid.
Okay. The first.
Yeah. And the original and whatever.
And the only.
The only one.
Yeah. The only one that matters. And you should watch Cobra Kai on YouTube Red.
Oh,
it is so good.
That.
Yes. If you erase all the sequels and just watch Karate Kid and then that, it's perfect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's so well done.
I think Karate Kid is beautiful. I watched it. I was in college, I guess, already.
Oh, wow.
It was on TV.
See, this is interesting because you saw all these movies that I saw pretty much when they came out, and then you saw them a little bit later.
Oh, yeah, because we had like a window, a delay, and I was very into like dark movies, so that would not get my attention. So I would watch the movies if I was at home, like I said, or a friend's house. Oh, I'm gonna watch this movie. Oh, here we go, this lame.
So how did you come upon Karate Kid?
I don't remember exactly, but I remember once I watched it once, and I was like, whoa, and I rented to watch it again because I didn't pay attention. I had more people with me with Karate Kid. And I thought, like, all the exercise that they do together, I was getting bored by that. I was like, when is going to start the karate part?
That's the genius of this.
I know. And there we go. That's why. Those are the movements. And it's great. I mean, the bully, we know. All these movies that we talk has this. But, the outcome is
great. And it's also the relationship between him and Mr. Miyagi.
Yes.
And that's nice because they don't really mention it. You don't find this out till later. And actually in Cobra Kai, Daniel's dad died. But they don't really talk about it. You just think she's a single mom, and then they just leave it at that. And so he's basically the father he never had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. We can see that in the movie. So it's beautiful.
Yeah. And what's funny, my dad always used to do, anytime I wash the car, wax on, wax off. Yeah.
So what we do, and I do it today. Oh, my God, I did last week, is the pose.
The crane kick.
Because I do like... to say, look, I am balanced. And I do the pose. I think that everybody did that.
Everyone knows this,
They don't do like when they're almost 40, but still do.
I'm sure you can pull it off. So Stu, we did the Karate Kid soundtrack, Stu and I. So go back and listen to that if you haven't heard it. Stu let me know that was actually one of the guy who did the choreography for the Karate Kid. So it wasn't Pat Morita, Mr. Miyagi. It was actually, because it's filmed from far. So it's not actually him doing it. It's the karate expert that's doing it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So is that your list?
No,
you have more.
Excuse me. I have. This is the number one.
Okay. Oh,
but
sorry.
This is not Karate Kid. The next one is the number one. Okay. Because I left the Karate Kid and Risky Business.
This isn't my podcast anymore. Was it ever?
You're gonna edit it anyway, so you're gonna cut all my minutes.
I never.
So I talk like for over half an hour, and it's gonna be like 5 minutes.
That's impossible. There's so many good things to leave in.
Anyway, so my favorite movie for high school, but I don't think it qualifies in a way, but I'll push it like.
And this is your number one pick. You're going to push it.
This is my number one. And I watched it a few times. And I got very emotional with that movie. And because, it's close to my heart. And is Radio.
Oh, yeah.
Radio is not, he's not in this school.
No.
But he loves the
And this is and they're in high school.
It's a high school football team.
Got it. And then Cuba Gooding Jr. plays Radio.
He's amazing. That guy, I love him. I love the actor. He's great. Everything I watch with him, I'm like amazed by how he changed. And this movie, I have a cousin. She has Down syndrome, and the making fun situation. I grew up with that because I was always hanging out with her. She was 20 years older than me. And she passed away a few months ago. So it was my favorite movie for so long because I always remind her she was a girl, first of all, and not a baseball player. Oh, not football player, nothing like that. But it is how is the portrait, how it is, and how hard it was for her.
Sure.
Because she went to a regular school as well, and not him, but she went to a regular school and she was bullied and everything. So that movie is beautiful. It's moving. And what the name of the coach? I always forget.
Is it Ed Harris?
I think so.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about it is so... It's not a biography.
I think it's loosely based on a truth.
It is. Yeah. It's loosely based. Yeah. But, I could see, not like this heroic thing, like, he scored all the things. No. But, it is the... How do you guys call in English when you put it outside or inside? You inclusion.
Yeah.
It is the inclusion of a kid who has issues and everything, and he's not on that school. Was the main thing.
Yeah.
Like, he's not on the school, and he's black, and he's has mental everything, and he's a great player.
Yeah.
So the movie is beautiful. So
he's part of the team, even though he doesn't actually play for the team, right? He's like
he wants to play for the team,
but he's like the ball boy, right?
Yes. Yeah. But it starts with he becomes.
Yeah.
But he's like pushing a cart around.
Yeah, so he's probably helping them with the tackling dummies and things like that.
Yes, yes, and they accept him. Yeah. So it's so beautiful, but it is a long way.
Well, sure, and you have to go through the anger of him being picked on.
Oh,
and
yeah,
things like that.
everything. Yeah. So it's beautiful, and I fell in love with this movie. I think I talked about this movie before. Yeah. I fell in love with this movie.
I think that's your favorite sports movie.
When I watched, and I was like, okay, this movie is amazing.
So it's interesting because there are stories of like this in high school where either a kid has a disability physically or mentally, and they let them play. Like, let's say if the team's up by a lot or losing by a lot, they'll let the kid get in to have their one moment.
Yeah.
And there's this one, it's happened a few times, where the other team kind of knew what was going on, so they let them have the moment. Like, they let them score a touchdown. Which is cool because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who won the game.
Of course.
But the kid's gonna remember that forever.
Forever.
And so, I mean, that's what it's about.
It is beautiful. So it was beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. I will watch it again, but every time I watch, I cry. So I need to be in the mood to cry to watch
So
it.
This one, and what was the other one that you Dead Poet Society. So if we want to get Danielle to cry, we'll put these on. Well, she's not crying. She's always laughing. We love having her on. Thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank you.
Okay, we're back with Malin. Welcome back.
Hey, Brian. Thanks.
All right, so for this semester, we're going to go back to high school. And Malin's got a few picks for us. And as we were talking about it beforehand, high school's movies were a lot easier to find than college. But you got a few, and I'm curious to hear your list.
Yeah, high school movies were a little bit easier for me to find, but I like your little Freudian slip when you said year instead of semester.
Yeah.
Time in high school for me went about as slow as it possibly could. I mean, what a miserable fucking time in life. But also one of the most amazing. So I really mixed feelings about my own high school experience. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know that I look for high school movies or even necessarily consider them as some of my go-tos, but yeah, I did come up with a list of films about or related to high school that I think are kind of cool.
Okay, cool. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so the first one I picked is Dazed and Confused. Oh, and I should say as a caveat, a lot of these I haven't looked at in a long time, so my memory of them is pretty shady.
Okay. Well, it's funny because that one I just rewatched with my mom, of all people, maybe a month ago, and I think it still holds up well. She was hilarious because she's like, because Matthew McConaughey's in it, and he's still the same guy. He's super creepy.
Yeah, and the thing I like about it is that it kind of captures the best feelings of high school, which is the last fucking day.
Yes. And they did a really good job with the 70s.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's completely enveloping. The film stock, the sets, the clothes, the way that people are talking, everything, the cars. It's really convincing. But yeah, I like that movie, and like I say, I haven't seen it in a long time. But I was really kind of a fan of Linklater's from his previous film. I think it was his one previous film, Slacker. And I've probably mentioned that here on a previous episode. So when I went into it, I didn't know too much about the plot or whatever, but I did have some expectations based on the director, and this was different from his previous film in that it had a much more linear narrative than the previous film, if you can imagine that. Previous film is just following people around a city, and this is just following people around a day, in a sense.
There's no real plot to it at all.
Exactly. But I think a lot of our high school experiences, like if there was any storyline or arc or plot that we imagine was there, it would probably look pretty similar to this, just a bunch of more or less random interactions with people that you do know and don't know, or people that you do know but don't interact with, and then have a chance to interact with them and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I totally agree. Those little snapshots that all kind of get commingled into one movie, basically.
Yeah. So that one's fun.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I'm going to bet that you put that on your list.
I didn't. I didn't because I had 40 of them, so I had to limit it. And they were all 80s movies, so that one missed the boat, but Danielle picked it, so we're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, then I'm gonna second Danielle's pick.
Good.
I think I liked it because I was not in high school when it came out, but it certainly was my idea of high school, like going into high school, or certainly what I wanted high school to be like in some respects. But yeah, I think more than anything, we just wanted to be the time traveling like high school kid, and yeah.
So that was funny. So Danielle was more into the scenes with Doc because she of course loves the science aspect of it, and she didn't like the high school scenes as much. But I think he kind of had to do it to get have a well-rounded movie.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the high school stuff is like pretty awkward. And,
sure.
Like the
mom and
Oh yeah. Oh, and the concert, the dance. What was it? The prom.
The Enchantment Under the Sea dance. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. that was kind of creepy. Okay, so Back to the Future, that was a fun film. I only really liked the first. I didn't really like the second or third film, but I have to also say, as far as like Doc goes, I think that relationship was what really wins the film.
Oh, totally.
This huge section, the huge middle section of the film where Doc, pretty much isn't there, right? He's not there, is he?
No,
not really. Yeah, and then he comes back towards the end.
Yeah,
and that's kind of when the film gets its feet again. Anyway, so that. What else? Okay, The Breakfast Club.
Absolutely.
So I only did Saturday Detention once.
Oh, really? Now I gotta hear this story.
Oh, well, there isn't even that much of a story to it. It's just that out of all of the times that they could have caught me and put me in detention for something, they only caught me once.
And what did you do?
Gosh, I barely remember. It must have been skipping school.
Okay.
High school, especially junior and senior years, were just about the most boring, insufferable, 8-hour per day stretches that I could even imagine. So yeah, I skipped a lot of those. I skipped a lot of days those last years, especially the last year.
Right.
There was kind of a system in place, so I'm pretty sure.
And of course, you went to movies. I'm sure.
That what?
You went to movies while you were skipping school.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Like I say, there was a system in place.
Yeah.
On Friday was movie day. Tuesday and Thursday, I had first period as a student assistant for a band instructor who really never showed up until third or fourth period.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there were all sorts of these little Swiss cheese holes in my senior year. It never ended up mattering because it certainly never affected my GPA or academic performance. But
and that's why you can get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. I think I just ended up skipping out on the bits that were less important.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Hey, that to me, that's a moment that you can use in your later life as well.
Yeah. And we certainly used those moments to create pretty epic fucking stories, like outside of school.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what you remember.
The what?
That's what you're going to remember more than actually sitting in class. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And with the Breakfast Club, so I kind of relate to the detention aspect only in that I did it once, and it was on Saturday, and it was kind of miserable. However, my Saturday detention school was nowhere near as fun as Saturday detention in the Breakfast Club. There were not more people to talk to. We didn't get into misadventures. There was no like emotional epiphanies. And honestly, with the people I was kind of in detention with, I'm glad that didn't happen. So yeah, but as far as this film goes, like this is it's like 80s high school for me. It's somehow without even having like normal school rigmarole, it kind of captures the feeling of what I remember of the 80s, even if it doesn't match up with like my experience in detention.
Yeah, and this is one where I always wanted a sequel to, because what happened the day after, or what happened when they went back to school on Monday,
Yeah, well, they're all like, fuck off.
Pretty much.
I don't interacted with each other anymore. I think that's, to me, that's the moral that I take away from that is how fast you can develop friends at that age, but how kind of fickle and transient some of those relationships can be. You can be like super fast, strong friends one moment, and it can all change just by shifting the context just a little bit, like the next day or
totally.
Day.
You've already moved on to the next thing.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So Breakfast Club. Okay. A few more creepy ones for high school. So Heathers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, kind of have a love-hate relationship with that. Mostly love. Maybe the hate is just that it didn't go far enough. I don't know. Or the Christian Slater kind of creeps me out a little bit, but that's what he was supposed to do. So,
but this is one that should have been more popular if it came out, let's say, in '93 as opposed to '89.
Yeah, I think that would have made a big difference.
Yeah,
I mean, got a pretty sincere cult following, I think, at this point.
Oh, it does, but it didn't do really well when it first got released. I mean, it was probably way too dark for an '80s type movie.
Yeah, no, it came out maybe a little bit earlier than it should have, but but I know that like Jawbreaker.
Oh yeah.
Like really heavily inspired by it, so thank goodness Heathers came along when it did, or we wouldn't have things like Jawbreaker.
Oh, I agree, absolutely.
Yeah. Another one, Carrie. Yeah, that's kind of like the worst case scenario of high school.
Yes.
Like the worst high school with the worst experiences, with the worst outcome. I don't know, and also a pretty great film as far as like setting up an anti-hero and playing on the audience's emotions to see exactly how far you'll go with the main character and like stay on their side no matter what they do.
Yeah.
Like, what extreme actions and degree of those actions are justified, and how do we feel when we're watching them? Do we feel that she's justified through to the end of the film,
Mm-hmm.
Including such a grim massacre of, friends and family and everyone and all of that. So yeah, I think that one's really interesting. And then the mother, as the religious zealot, who turns out to be like the true villain of the piece, which I didn't realize until I saw the film. Actually, not so long ago. I'd only ever heard about the movie, but I didn't see it until maybe 5 or 7 years ago.
Did you ever read the book?
You don't hear a lot. What's that?
Did you ever read the book?
No, I haven't read the book.
Okay. Yeah.
But maybe I should, because I've been looking for a new audiobook for my miserable commute.
Oh yeah.
And maybe this would be a good one.
Yeah, I think that would be a good way to get into it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Carrie, and the last one. This is one I've only seen once, but it left a more or less lasting impression. Brick.
Oh no, I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
So I think you might be interested in it because it takes a neo-noir tone towards high school and it's got its own little like mystery going on, but it really plays off of older noir mystery films in terms of the way that it's set, the language that's used, some of the hijinks and twists in the mystery and all of that. Yeah, so since you haven't seen it, I'd recommend that for you. I think you might be interested in it. And even if not, I'd be interested to hear what you think of its take on noir film.
This is the one with Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah, this sounds a lot like... interesting, because I'm reading the quick plot. Did you ever see River's Edge with Keanu Reeves and Dennis Hopper, and came out in the mid-'80s?
I did. I don't remember it well enough.
Okay, just the description of Brick sounds similar to that, and I really like River's Edge, so I will definitely... It's going in my Netflix queue right now.
Sweet.
As always, thank you so much, Malin.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, we're back with super producer Lindley, who is yawning her way into this interview. She's very enthusiastic.
Very high energy.
I know. So we're going back to high school. Were your high school years good, or were you happy to get out of high school?
I was happy to get out of high school.
Okay.
I wouldn't say they were terrible, but
better.
Mediocre.
Mediocre.
Or are you one of those people that are like, high school was the best years of my life?
It wasn't the best years, but I didn't have a bad experience either.
I had a bad experience in freshman year, and then not after that. It was fine.
Then you were prom queen and Valley Girl, dating the guy across the tracks, and
didn't date anybody.
Oh, that's right. We go to back.
So bad. I don't know why that's so sad to people.
Well, it's not sad to me. I mean, if you seem happy with it, I'm
happy with it now, but of course at the time.
That's why I said, oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the time, yes. I would have loved to have dated anybody. No,
so
not anybody.
This is the therapy episode.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
Another time.
So moving right along, we can get right into, you have a list of 12.
Yes. But I don't have to list all of them.
Okay, well, we'll do the ones that are your favorites, and then we can quickly do the other ones that you're not as enthusiastic about as she continues to yawn.
I don't know if I'm enthusiastic about any of these.
Yeah.
No, I like a lot of the movies, but...
Okay. First one we'll talk about.
Well, I would say like my two favorite high school that take place in high school that I could watch over and over again is Clueless.
Oh yeah. And you were in college, right, when this came out?
I was in college when Clueless came out, for sure. Yeah, I wasn't in high school, but I just think it's it's just, I don't know why I like it so much.
It's like the ultimate 90s movie.
It's a very 90s, yeah.
And especially with all the music. And most of the actors and actresses, they were of that era.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, well, it's funny. My daughter just found, because we've watched it recently together, and then, the software where she puts her outfits together.
Oh, yeah.
Because I said offhand, like, oh, you need one of those, because she's really stressing about what she's going to wear the first day of school. So I was like, oh, you need one of those things from Clueless where she thinks, and then she just searched on an app, and there's an app.
Oh, yeah. And there's probably a million apps for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you watch it now. Because this is probably the first big-time movie for Paul Rudd.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so young.
I know.
I don't know why. Well, I love that it's also Emma. It's the story of Emma.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like a retelling of that.
Yeah, and it's also kind of sad because you have the girl who died.
She died.
She's in it too.
That is sad.
And she has a good role.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good in that.
Yeah.
And then also like the date rapey stuff. That's not so good. But.
Yeah, that one.
It's not so date rapey. I mean, it's a.
Well, she gets held up.
Yeah. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was good. I thought it was well done. I like Alicia
Silverstone. Yeah,
and the guy who plays her dad.
Yeah, he's great.
Cheers, right? He was on Cheers originally.
Yeah, that's Carla's husband.
Yeah,
or boyfriend.
Ex-husband. It's her ex-husband. Yeah.
Nick.
Yes. Is that Nick?
Yeah. That's true. He is the dad. So okay, good. Clueless, one of them.
Okay, the other one is Valley Girl.
Of course.
Which I have not rewatched, but I would say great high school movie, very similar to Clueless. Like to me, it gives me the same amount of, it's kind of just like a dumb movie, but I like it.
Yeah, no, you can put it on any time.
Yeah. And what's so funny, and I can't remember what I saw this on, but they showed a montage. It was about like malls or dying malls or something, some documentary or something I was watching on TV. So they showed the montage in Valley Fair of the mall scene where you see the credit card swiping.
Oh, and Valley Girl.
Just talking about. Sorry, what did I say?
Valley Fair, which is a mall.
Which is the mall that I just went to. That's very strange.
Yeah.
Anyway. So it was like, this was the quintessential mall experience?
Yes.
Yeah, so Very much. And did you watch the preview for Stranger Things season 3?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It takes place in a mall.
That's awesome. Yeah, because malls are kind of dying now. I mean,
they are dying, but when the mall in my town, New Park Mall, in I guess it's in Newark, California, I grew up in Fremont. It was a humongous deal when it opened. I think I was 8 or 9, and it was just this monumental opening.
Yeah. As a kid, you went to the mall to hang out. You didn't necessarily have to even buy anything because you had everything there.
You didn't buy anything. You went to the food court.
Yep, food court, movie theater.
Orange Julius.
Yep.
See, we didn't even have arcade. I don't think there was a movie theater in that mall. In that mall then. I think that came later.
But even in This Might Be on Your List too, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, a lot of it takes place in a mall too.
It's not on my list, but it should be. Oh, it is. Sorry, Fast Times, it's there. It is one of the 12. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you. It's my number 1 pick. So, I mean, because it's got high school in the title.
Really, and that is also in the mall, yeah.
Oh, totally, because
Ratner works at the... So is Clueless takes place in the mall.
That's true, a lot of it.
As well. Yeah, I feel like that was teenage life, which I don't think it is so much anymore.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I forgot to do is Weird Science, because that is
I don't have that on my list.
Definitely a high school movie.
That's a high school movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't take place in a mall. I can't remember Weird Science.
It doesn't take place in a mall.
A million years ago.
They get Robert Downey Jr. and his buddy dump, I think, Icy on them, and they're starting to feel good about themselves, and then they dump them.
Was it Orange Julius?
It may have been.
That was like the standard.
Do they still have Orange Julius?
I went back to that mall recently. I took my daughter to the mall for the very first time to go back to school shopping. She's not even ever been. She walked into a Macy's and was like, "This is the most amount of clothes I've ever seen in my life." It was like so sad.
Everything's just swiping.
I just shop online, so I don't go to the mall. So what was it? Oh, the food court is completely different. Yeah.
So So there's no more
So
Sbarros.
now there's a lot of like ramen, and I mean, especially at Valley Fair, it's all like ramen. We went to this Michelin-starred dim sum place. I mean, it's a chain from Taiwan.
Yeah.
And that's where we ate. You have to wait. You have to get in a queue and wait. I mean, the waits can be up to 5 hours. We waited an hour just to get a seat at the bar. Jeez. But it was really great. Yeah. Really great food, dumplings and stuff. But
totally different than when we went.
Very different. Yeah. What was the thing that we went to was? No, so they didn't have that at my ball, but that is a very like quintessential mall food.
Yeah.
The hot potato bar.
Oh,
baked potato bar.
I totally remember that.
That was like my favorite thing to get was the baked potato bar and orange chilies. Yeah.
And Sbarro was like the main pizza place.
Sbarro was a big one, as well as like gyros or euros.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, those were there. I'm like, that might have been the only thing that survived, I think, is euros.
This is why I love interviewing super producer Lindley, because we just go off on tangents.
We just go back in time. Yeah.
Okay, so we have the 3 of them. What are the other ones?
Oh, we only talked about 2?
Well, we kind of threw in Fast Times. But,
okay. Yeah. So I won't talk about that. So in the same classification as Clueless and Valley Girl is Rushmore.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. That's a great high school movie. Don't need to talk about that.
And different than your typical high school movie.
I think so. Yeah. Also because it's like at a all boys prep school. Then he does go to public school, but initially, it doesn't really. Not much to do about high school relationships. It's basically his relationship with
Bill Murray.
Okay, the next one, Breakfast Club.
Absolutely.
Sure, everybody says Breakfast Club.
Now, I found out from Malin, this was great. He actually had a story when he went to say he had to go to detention on Saturday school. He says
I've been to it before.
Okay, so what was your experience? Well, why did you get sent to?
Oh, why did I get sent to? This I don't remember. I went in 8th grade. I don't think I ever did it in high school. It was definitely middle school, and I don't know.
Okay.
It may have been for kissing a boy.
And you got caught.
Grade. Yeah, we got caught. It was that was a really big in trouble incident where they wrote up a paragraph, and that may have been Saturday school. It may have been for something else. It may have been for cutting class or something. I don't remember. But that was like this this very horrible big deal experience. Those are like it just sticks out of my head. Yeah. And
did you have Saturday school with him too?
I don't think so. I don't remember. But it was a very short relationship. So
Yeah.
we were only together probably a couple of weeks. I don't remember.
But that's 8th grade for you.
Yeah. It wasn't a very long relationship. No. The longest relationship of high school. No.
Memories. So I never got detention back then. So,
you never had detention or Saturday school. Yeah, Saturday school was like Breakfast Club where you sat there the whole day. Yeah, it was terrible. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you didn't, Malin's experience wasn't nearly as interesting where you...
Well, it was definitely not like Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Well, nothing's like Breakfast Club. I always wanted a sequel to Breakfast Club to find out what actually happened.
That would be a good sequel. Yeah.
Malin has a more cynical view, he's like, no, they probably all just ignored each other after that.
I'm sure of that, of course. That's what I thought they did. I guess that's not the end of the story, but...
Well, the end, you just see Judd Nelson
of course.
raising his fist.
I think we picked up trash, or, like, we cleaned on Saturday.
Oh, right.
Like, I feel like that. It's a very vague memory, but I feel like there was,
It's more community service than just...
I think there was a lot of sitting in a classroom, and then we did some, cleanup or something. Mm-hmm. They punished us by making us clean up.
I used to get out of so much trouble in high school because my mom worked at the high school, so I would get sent to the office.
Didn't get detention or Saturday
school? And that's why
she
would send me a...
See, I don't know what the determination is of sending someone to Saturday school. It's just like it's a punishment beyond detention.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's a thing nowadays, is it? Because you have kids, I don't know.
Yeah, but my son, I can't imagine him getting detention
punished like that.
School.
Yeah.
No, knock on wood.
We'll come back and interview
he's a rule follower, so...
Good, good.
He is.
Unlike his mom.
I think I was just so happy someone liked me.
Oh. That deserves an awe.
I'm really well adjusted now.
Okay, moving to the next movie. Yeah, we're not yawning anymore, folks.
Okay, so where did I get? I only got to Rush. Oh no, we're talking about Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
So the next one is, which I could never watch this movie today. It would devastate me. Is Virgin Suicides.
I've never seen this, but I know I've heard of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a good novel, and then the book was Sofia Coppola's. I think it was her first. Mm-hmm. I think it was her first after the whole Godfather.
So it was the first one that she directed.
She directed,
Got it. Yeah.
And I actually saw it. I went to a screening of it in San Francisco, and we actually saw. Like, there was an after party, but it was really pathetic. And her and her husband, who was Spike Jonze at the time, they're no longer married now, but they were at the time, were there together.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And you liked the movie, or was it just like...
Yeah, the movie's really good. I just couldn't watch it today, just too, it is about young girls killing themselves, a whole family of young girls that kill themselves, so I can't watch things like that.
You know, maybe I did see it a long time ago. Do you remember who was the main star?
It's what's her name? You definitely know.
Was she in Spider-Man?
Yes. Right?
Yeah. Yes, I think it's...
What's her name?
I know.
She was also in The Vampire Lestat. Didn't we just talk about this? The young girl.
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst. Yeah. Yeah. She was probably the most famous name.
Yes. But it's got to be a cast.
In the movie.
Josh Hartnett, Kathleen Turner.
Yeah, it was just filmed really, and also takes place in the 70s, and it just felt, they did a really good job with the look and feel. The station wagon and the suburban neighborhood, just kind of like the Depression or
that era.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next.
Being trapped. They're trapped in their house, Okay, so that was, we talked about Fast Times, right?
Yep.
Okay. Election.
Oh, definitely. That's
That's a great, I love that
great dark
movie.
comedy. Yeah.
Really great, Matthew Broderick and Reese
Reese is so good as that.
She's so good. She's so perfect
evil.
at that. And you think that's just her in real life, right?
I don't know. Yeah, well, you met her or you saw her.
I did not meet her.
I'm indulging.
I saw her walking down the street.
With Jake Gyllenhaal. Yes. No, I thought you saw her in a restaurant.
We were, it was in front of the restaurant. We were not dining in the restaurant at the time. We were on the wait list, and they were on the wait list as well. They wrote their names down on the wait list. They had to wait an hour like everybody else.
They didn't pull the star treatment.
I'm surprised, but they didn't.
That's cool.
I thought it was okay.
So we like her more now, yes.
Yeah, I like her. I don't know. She's fine.
Yeah.
The next one, 16 Candles.
Of course. Yeah.
That should have gone up with Clueless and Valley Girl.
Yeah.
And Rushmore.
Fast Times, You know, we watched that. We had a day camp. That the final night of the day camp, we had a sleepover. They showed us 16 Candles.
There's the whole booth.
There's nudity. We didn't think anything of it.
And then all about him trying to get her underwear, or he gets her underwear.
That totally went over my head.
That's so funny.
I just thought it was funny. I love Long Duck Dong at the time, but now it's not as PC. But still, I just thought he was a fun character at the time. I still think he's a fun character.
I love the grandparents.
Oh, the grandparents are great.
Yeah. So. That horrifying. Yeah, staying with all those people in one house. That's very funny. I think that's before. Oh God! See, my screen went blank and my list is on there.
Oh, technology. Good. Okay. We're back.
The next one was Fame.
Oh,
Did you have Fame on your list?
Oh, yeah.
You must have Fame.
That's dark, too, with the whole Coco scene. I mean, talk about very rapey.
It's also, rapey. And isn't there...
Someone dies, right?
Doesn't someone commit suicide?
I think so.
Is it the comic? Or is
the
comic commits suicide, or something happens to him, right?
Yeah, he has a horrible experience.
Comic or something. I don't remember. Does he commit suicide?
We're going to have to go back and watch it.
I'm going to have to just read the synopsis of it. I don't know.
Music's great in it.
The music is so good. It's a good story. It's a good movie.
It is. Did you like the movie or the TV show better?
Well, I definitely watched the TV show more, and I think I probably watched the TV show before I saw the movie because I think I was too young to see the movie.
1980, yeah, you would have been.
Yeah, but I think I saw it after, post TV show. So,
yes.
And I think I definitely liked the TV show more because I was more into the characters of the TV show, right? Which is a typical,
of course,
child thing to do. So I'm sure the movie is probably better than the TV show was.
I don't know. I remember enjoying the TV show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The next one is Peggy Sue Got Married.
That's funny. See,
I love that movie. Yeah, I love that movie.
I need to go back and watch it.
I loved it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would still love it as much.
Nick Cage is such a doofus in that movie.
But he's so, I mean, that time he was still good.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that came out shortly after Valley Girl, or maybe a few years after Valley Girl.
Mid-80s. 3 years after.
Yeah, and I think he was still, that's when he was in his...
Yeah, because then next year he did like Raising Arizona. And,
Oh, I just rewatched Raising Arizona.
That holds up.
Yeah. He's so good in that.
There's one.
He was still a good actor. It was before he turned cheeseball, right?
Like self-parody at this point.
Yeah, well now.
Yeah,
so now it's ridiculous. But even before he did Con Air.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess then he was just being
he needs a paycheck.
A leading man.
Like National Treasure? My mom loves those
movies.
National
Treasure. And I was thinking it's kind of akin to The Rock doing
totally.
Skyscraper.
Yeah,
like
Rampage.
Kind of like Skyscraper. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Raising Arizona is the movie, and this is not a high school movie, but when I saw it as a kid, I didn't really like it because it was too dark.
Raising Arizona?
Yeah, I was more like Ferris Bueller. That type of thing.
I can't imagine
but as
too many kids liking it.
No, but now I love it. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so good. Yeah.
So it's interesting that Peggy Sue Got Married. So what about that?
I don't know why I liked it so much. I liked... I just loved the Nicolas Cage
Kathleen Turner. Mm-hmm.
Kathleen Turner, and just, I don't know. Yeah. I like the story of her going back in time, getting hit on the head, and seeing her parents.
The 80s were very, let's go back to the 50s.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And now it's let's go back to the 80s. Or the late 90s was let's go back to the 80s.
That's right.
That's what we just started. I just watched in a few days I watched Freaking Sin Geeks with my daughter.
Oh, yeah.
I watched it with my son, and oh my god, she loved it. Mm-hmm. And I was so surprised that she really loved it, and
I'm right with you because I was a latecomer. You kept raving about it.
Yeah.
I finally binge watched it. It's amazing. It's really too bad they didn't keep going for at least a few more seasons.
Another season, at least one more season. Yeah. She was very disappointed how it ended. She's like, I can't believe she went off with the hippies.
I know.
And she's like, she should have gone to the whatever it was, the academic college weekend or something.
And they can't go back to it because it would just it wouldn't be the same. They had to do it.
No, but they just did a documentary on the making of it, and it's pretty much the entire cast is interviewed, and a lot of the casting people and directors. I don't think Judd Apatow is interviewed, but I think Paul Feig is. Or maybe they just talk about him. I can't remember. But
because pretty much everyone in that show went on to bigger.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think everybody. Yeah. It's crazy.
And then what else do you have?
Oh, what was I on? Peggy Sue Got Married. Donnie Darko.
Yeah, that one I couldn't. Yeah, it's too crazy. It's just too much. Like I need to watch like a million times to really get it.
Yeah. I gotcha.
And it's not that I didn't like it.
It's just kind of.
Well, there's all these theories about what's going on.
If he's hallucinating, or if he's dead, or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know movies. So, like, have you ever seen American Psycho?
No.
So that one I can watch over and over again because it's same theory. Like, is this real or not? So,
I see. Yeah.
But that takes place in the 80s too.
Oh, right.
And the use
is it back in time in the 80s?
No.
Okay, it's
set in the mid 80s and.
It was filmed in the mid 80s. You mean?
No. It was filmed in the 90s.
Yeah, like we're saying, the 90s. You go back to the 80s.
And God, I can't remember his name now, but he played Batman. He's famous. Christian Bale. Yeah.
Christian Bale. Yeah.
He's so good because he's psycho, but he loves all this 80s pop music. Like he basically kills a guy while listening to Huey Lewis, and so you hear like this upbeat Huey Lewis while he's killing him, and he's very into like his music and this new,
Well, it kind of reminds me of Fight Club. That's what it reminds me a lot of Fight Club. Even though I haven't seen it, but
you've never seen Fight Club?
No, I've seen Fight Club. I haven't seen American Psycho. Yeah. The clips I've seen, clips of American Psycho, which completely reminded me of like almost like Fight Club was ripping it off completely. Like the clips where he's talking about like body care or sculpting.
Yeah, he
how he has to sculpt himself, and then Fight Club has something similar to
It's not for everyone because it was originally a book by Bret Easton Ellis, who of course wrote Less Than Zero.
I loved Lesson Zero when I was in high school. Yeah. Just a really great story.
Oh man, and the book is way more intense than the movie.
The book is really horrible. Yeah. I read it when I was like 13 or 14. Oh yeah, very young.
Oh boy. Yeah, speaking of high school movies, you could. Well, actually, they're out of high school, right?
Less Than Zero. That might be a college movie.
That is a college. We could talk about that. Okay, well, so what are your other high school movies?
I only have one more. Ghost World.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Young Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson and the other one, Thora Birch. Right?
Yes.
Thora Birch. I don't know.
Is that before or after American Beauty? Right.
After.
Yeah.
I think it's after.
I think you're right. Yeah.
But it's the first. I think that's the first thing I saw Scarlett Johansson in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, great job. I'm glad you were fully awake now. 12. I know you're fully awake.
Didn't really talk about them.
No, and maybe we'll do college. We don't know.
I don't have anything for college.
Okay, never mind. Bye, guys. All right, thanks to everyone who guested on the podcast. I told you in the beginning I had a bunch of extras, and so in no particular order, actually there's a particular order. It's alphabetical because that makes it easier. Anyway, let me quickly go through these. All the Right Moves from, I believe it was 1983 with Tom Cruise. He plays a high school football player, and Craig T. Nelson plays his high school coach. It's a good movie. Leah Thompson plays Tom Cruise's girlfriend. It's got, it's more drama than comedy, but if you like high school football, this is a good movie. American Pie, the first one at least takes place in high school, and it really harkens back to 80s movies. So I always liked American Pie. Bad Teacher. This is one of the newer movies. I think Cameron Diaz is perfect as the quote-unquote bad teacher. And there's so many great 80s metal songs because she kind of plays this burnout 80s stoner in a way. Though you have to see the movie. It was really good. I mean, she's smoking up in her car listening to Rainbow in the Dark by Ronnie James Dio. How can you not love that? Actually, and then the Ripper from Judas Priest is playing as, Anyway, you got to see the movie. It's a good movie. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. This is a super fun movie, and of course starring Keanu Reeves and the other guy, who I can't remember his name. But supposedly there is a third potential Bill and Ted's movie coming out. We'll see if it actually happens. Can't Hardly Wait almost made my list. This is a movie that came out in the mid-90s. I think it was 1997 or 1998. That really feels like an 80s movie, and it's just one long party. Very similar to Dazed and Confused, which is also on my list. Dazed and Confused, of course, taking place in the 70s. There's no plot for Dazed and Confused. It's simply just one long, interlude between summer and going back to school, but that's a fun movie. Class in 1984, my only horror movie, and there's some fucked up scenes in this movie, but I loved it as a kid. It's also one of Michael J. Fox's first movies, and yeah, I'll give it away. He gets killed in the movie, so you might as well go see it. Yeah, all right, there you go. Clueless. Many people, so I think Brian and Samantha they mentioned Clueless after the fact. It could have very easily made my list. Clueless is really kind of a generational type movie. When you think of 90s high school movies, I think Clueless has got to be on the list, and it narrowly didn't make my list. The original Freaky Friday from 1976, I believe, with Jodie Foster. Really enjoyed this movie as a kid. Never bothered to see the Lindsay Lohan version. This, of course, is a generational thing. I grew up with the original version of Freaky Friday. Many of my guests grew up with the Lindsay Lohan version, so, to each their own. One that I talked about a lot, and again, this is, I think, like Mean Girls, and Mean Girls is on my short list. Easy A. Easy A is really well done. Emma Stone is really good in this role, and check out Easy A if you want to see a really well done high school movie. Hiding Out from 1987. John Cryer is in this, and this is kind of there's some creepy moments in there, and you'd have to see it to understand. But basically, John Cryer's on the run, I believe, from the mob, or he needs to testify. So they, for whatever reason, dress him up like a high school student. And he goes to class to kind of hide out. Yeah, I don't know how that's really hiding out. I mean, hiding out would be, really not going out in public. But it's an 80s movie, so who cares? And then he falls for a teenage girl. So yeah, go back and watch that one. Hoosiers. Now, Hoosiers was a tough one because, yes, it takes place in high school, but as I was talking about with my other brother, Brian, the high school is kind of an afterthought. I mean, yeah, they're playing high school basketball, but, most of the movie's built around Gene Hackman's character, and frankly, the Dennis Hopper character. So, yeah, I mean, it deserves to be on a list. I don't know if it deserved to be in my top 10 list. Mentioned Mean Girls, so let's go to My Bodyguard. My Bodyguard is kind of that weird tweener where it has the darkness of the late 70s going into the kind of the feel-good part of the 1980s. Much like Breaking Away, I like those coming-of-age stories, and Chris Makepeace, who was also in 1979's Meatballs, is in this, along with Adam Baldwin. Good movie. If you missed this when you were growing up, or you missed it when you used to have HBO back in the day, My Bodyguard is really worth it. Matt Dillon is great as the bully. A lesser known and not the greatest movie ever, but it was always entertaining for me for some reason. It's My Science Project. Dennis Hopper's in this film too. He kind of had a resurgence back in the 80s. Yeah, it's very, you could tell they wanted to capitalize on the Back to the Future craze, the sci-fi, fun, teenage Back to the Future craze, but actually that reminds me, I didn't put Back to the Future on the list. That the original could have technically been in the film, in my top 10. One of the underdog movies that I saw in the theater, and it was just built around independent buzz, was Napoleon Dynamite. The guy who played Napoleon Dynamite, whose name is escaping me right now, he's kind of typecasted as Napoleon Dynamite. But yeah, this was a really fun movie. A really good one that I discovered not too long ago. It's called Plain Clothes, and I believe it came out in 1987. This one is similar to Hiding Out, where this guy goes undercover. Who it's absolutely ridiculous because he does not look like a high school student. But again, it's the 80s, so you could look 42 and come off as a 15-year-old. Okay. Porky's, how can you? That was a rite of passage if you're a male, because that's, oh my God, your older brother, your parents at Porky's. We're gonna watch that when they leave. So yeah, but actually looking back, it's not just a nudie flick or lots of nudity in it, but it's actually a good story, and it's a fun story. It takes place in, I believe, the late 50s, early 60s, and yeah, there's a lot of fun scenes in it, and definitely check out the original Porky's. The sequels were pretty inferior. Pump Up the Volume, where you have Christian Slater, who I mentioned earlier, with Heathers, becoming kind of like a pseudo pirate radio Howard Stern knockoff. But yeah, it's entertaining to watch. I can pretty much watch anything from the 80s and be entertained. I know. River's Edge, this is a dark movie based on a true story. Keanu Reeves is in it. Ione Skye's in it. Dennis Hopper's in it. Dennis Hopper's in a lot of these teen movies from the 80s. Keanu Reeves, the group of friends find a dead body, and they basically don't even report it until, a long time after. And it's based on a true story where these teenagers were basically apathetic to basically finding their friend and not saying anything about it. Very interesting. I've mentioned in past episodes, I think it was my favorite romantic movie, Secret Admirer, with C. Thomas Howell and Lori Loughlin, who I had a major crush on growing up. Definitely a good movie. 16 Candles, and you're probably asking, how can 16 Candles not be on your list? I don't know. It was only a top 10 list, and I already had a few Molly Ringwald movies, so it got bumped off. But, if I did a top 15, 16 Candles would have been on there. The Substitute from 1996. Yeah, this was a interesting. Tom Berenger plays a substitute teacher. He was an I believe, a Green Beret or Navy SEAL, and he's going undercover to basically find out why there's gangs and drugs going on at this high school. So he's going undercover to kick some ass. I always like movies like that. Superbad. I think Brian talked about this one, so I'll let we talked about everything, but it's terrific. It's a great high school movie. Maybe the last great comedy to come out in the last 10 years. Teen Wolf from 1985. I have a secret spot for this. Michael J. Fox hates the movie. I love the original Teen Wolf. I think it's really well done. It's very enjoyable. There's some great scenes in it. I love his friend Styles. You want to check out some really hilarious T-shirts that he wears throughout the film. Check out the original Teen Wolf. 3 O'Clock High. This is a really fun movie and very underrated. It came out in 1985. Most of the stars you wouldn't know, and so I think this is why it's kind of under the radar. It was kind of remade with Ice Cube, and it was called Fist Fight, which was absolutely pathetic. It was like they didn't even have a writer, and everything was ad-libbing. If you want to see the best, watch the original 3 O'Clock High. 21 Jump Street, I mentioned this before, just really well done. They go undercover. This is meant to be ridiculous because they don't really, yeah, they look like high school students, kind of. Jonah Hill kind of does, but they actually play off of that, so it's a good movie. 2 more, Wildcats from 1985 with Goldie Hawn. I pretty much love anything with Goldie Hawn in it, and she becomes a high school football coach in an inner city high school. Fun movie. And lastly, because it starts with the letter Z, it's Zapped with Scott Baio from, I believe, 1982. Yeah, who else wouldn't want a kid with telekinesis that can, make... Anyway, you have to see the movie. You can take a wild guess what it's going to be like. Teenage boy with telekinesis powers. Yeah. Anyway, that was my remaining movies. I think there was almost 29 extras, so have fun with that. Go on your Netflix, stream however you stream, and enjoy all these high school movies. We'll be back next week with college movies. If you enjoy this podcast and are an iTunes user, please do the show a favor and head on over to the official iTunes page for Damn Good Movie Memories. Be sure to leave a rating and a review. This will allow the show to appear higher in the algorithm and spread the joy of this podcast to the masses. If you are not an iTunes user, you can still listen and subscribe on Podbean at damngoodmoviememories.podbean.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook under our Damn Good Movie Memories page. You can also listen to a limited number of episodes on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and be sure to tune in next week for an all-new episode of Damn Good Movie Memories.
I am Dr. Fuck.
And I'm the Total Alcoholic.
And we are part of the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast.
We are the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast.
That's right. And the way you can check us out is we are on iTunes and also Podbean. And we forgot a review recently. I got this review right here. It says, Rock and Metal Combat Podcast is the greatest podcast in the world, and it's my number one podcast, signed by Science. Now, and then Science also said... Science also said... My second favorite podcast is It Doesn't Matter, the rest suck. Rock and Metal Combat Podcast on iTunes and Podbean. Check it out.
Science! Are you ready for the hottest new podcast out there? Check out the Vieira Vault, featuring none other than Dr. Fuck Ralph Vieira. You will hear personal stories and personal songs from the vault. There ain't nothing else like it. The one, the only, the original Vieira Vault. On Podbean, Stitcher.com, and iTunes.
Spreaker.
God damn it.